right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. And there is my compatriot.
Hey.
You hopped on just as we went live.
What's going on, man?
That's right. You got away from it. I was going to sit there and razz you over being late, but you snacked in there right on the other.
Sure, man. 6 o'clock. I'm right on time.
I was gonna introduce our crew without, I was gonna say, Leon, my co-host for the evening is here. Leon, we're sitting here. This is our first time doing this kind of election night coverage, so
Yes.
everybody kind of gives us a bit of leeway on this thing.
Of course.
For our regular Counterpoint viewers, I'm James Just, the co-host of the Libertarian Counterpoint public access TV show. Leon is a panelist on that show, but he also is a host of his own. They've got their own show on the Counterpoint Community Podcast. We've got Leon, the last word, Brathwaite. Did I pronounce that correctly?
That's correct. Close, definitely close enough.
Close enough. Better than your host.
Jason have done a lot worse, believe me.
Yeah. What do we call? I call him Jumpin' Jason McPhee. Is the host over there because he's always jumping in late. And your fellow compatriot Tim Everett, the Screaming Eagle of Freedom.
Yeah, you say he might not be here until later, though. He might be here until later.
Oh, we've got people's plugs coming in and out throughout the show. We've got a couple candidates here in California. They've scheduled to pop in and say hello. We got Kalish Merrill said she's going to pop in when she can get a few minutes.
Okay.
Miss Weber, I'm going to say her because I will butcher her first name if I try to say it. Miss Weber, she's running for the school board.
Okay.
She's running. Oh my gosh! And now I've forgotten that she's running for the school board here in California for a local school board. And she'll correct me properly when we're wrong. I actually got to meet her at a rally for Joe Jorgensen. We actually got to we were the speakers at the Joe Jorgensen rally. Cool. So that was a good time. And
where was that? Where was the rally?
Here at Roseville.
Oh, okay, cool.
Down here in Roseville. That was a fun time. And we're going to have Oscar Herrera from Ohio, 9th district seat. Anyway, he'll stop by and he'll let us know about the status of his race and how things in Ohio are going.
Okay.
So we've got a fun-filled evening planned. So, Leon, I've been hoping you had a chance to catch up on some news because I've been cleaning up water that I spilt all over my floor here just in the last half.
Oh my goodness. Well,
I got no one to blame but myself, man. I do see they've called some states. Do you have any
they have called several states. None of the big battleground states. There are about 13, 14 battleground states. They haven't called any of those yet. But it looked like Trump is going to win in Florida. All the states that have been called, Joe Biden won in the states he's supposed to win in. Trump win in the states he's supposed to win in. But the battleground states are the things that are outstanding. And the closest one we have right now is Florida, and that looks like it's going Trump way. North Carolina seems to be drifting Biden's way. We're not sure how that is going to turn out as yet. But right now, the count, I believe, is like Biden is with like 115 or something, and Trump with about 90 or something like that. I could check that, and I'll tell you that shortly. I do have I am monitoring Fox News right now as we speak, and I don't have a count right now, but I'll have a count shortly. Shortly on the electoral count shortly. I'll have that shortly.
Yeah, we'll keep track of that out in the day. We're actually more interested in some of these libertarian races. We've got Donald Rainwater in Indiana, I believe. Illinois? Do you remember?
Yes.
I forget which one of those. It's one of those, and I'll have to pull it up. I didn't have my chance to get my I was gonna I made a mess right before showtime. And so we're looking on those. We're always interested in how well. Do we have any kind of percentages for Joe Jorgensen? Have they shown anything like that?
They have shown nothing. Fox News is showing nothing on Joe Jorgensen. She's on neither is CNN, who I've also been looking at. So nobody's saying anything about her campaign. So She looks like she's totally off the grid.
Yeah, well, that's not actually surprising. I don't know why it makes sense that they don't cover these things completely at the, you're at the end. It's not like no one can, it's not like it's going to change anything now.
Yeah.
But who knows?
I mean, it would be good to know. I mean, what libertarians are doing, and stuff like that. But
it'd be good to inform the public of the whole truth, right, rather than just partial truths.
Oh, okay. Yeah, true. Most definitely. I think that is obviously so. But
okay, so I've got an update over here on mine. The national polls, they actually have Donald Trump leading Biden 51% to 48%, but that's without California.
Yeah, without California, and I don't think without New York. Well, yeah, they should have called New York by now. So yeah. So
well, New York should at least be in the process of counting. But it says here Trump is 51, Biden's 48, which that's actually surprising at any point.
Yeah, really. I mean, the expectation is that even if Trump wins this thing, Joe Biden is going to win what we call the popular vote. I mean, that was the expectation. So if Trump end up winning the popular vote and winning the electoral college, that would be a big shocker. It really would be.
Yeah,
a big shocker.
Yeah, that's probably the only thing that would shock me today. Yes. That might be the only thing that would shock me. I'm kind of what's going to happen is going to happen. We don't have much. There's no returns from here to the West Coast yet, and so we're kind of libertarians. We're going to talk Trump until we can get some libertarians to check in and tell us how the races are doing. Or until California starts reporting here in a little while. But it's been fun.
I think the count right now is 129 electoral votes for Biden, 94 electoral votes for Trump. That's the count right now.
Do you have anything on any of those hot Senate races? Do you have anything?
Yes, Colorado flipped to the Democrats. Cory Gardner, who was the Republican incumbent, was running against the former governor, a guy by the name of Hickenlooper or something like that, and he had flipped the state. So Colorado is now in the Democratic hands. So it will be in January when people get sworn in.
Yeah, the next sworn in. So there's at least one. We'll see how many flip back and forth. I actually think it'll end up being about the same. I think Democrats will flip a couple and Republicans will flip a couple. It's just instinct tells me that. There's no data to tell me that. It's pure instinct. I could be completely wrong.
Well, I think they may end up with a 50-50 Senate, to be honest.
Yeah.
And if Trump wins, well, the Republicans will still remain in charge because Mike Pence will break all ties. But I think it will be a 50-50 Senate because I think the Democrats are looking strong to flip several Senate seats. But the Republicans can flip. There's a chance they can flip Michigan, and they may flip Alabama. So on net, I think it might end up 50-50. I think so. That is just my my novice political analysis.
Hey, and the thing is, we're going to end up being just as right as the so-called professionals, because
that's right. That's right.
And we know we will, because history showed us we will. It's,
of course.
They're wrong as often as we are. We're all just guessing. We're taking what information we have, and we're kind of making our best guess.
Right, exactly. And I mean, it looking so far that a lot of the polls that we have been looking at over the last 3 months are totally wrong. Okay, it's looking that way. I don't know if it'll turn out that way, but it sure looks that way.
Well, they'll been exaggerated, I think, is what they'll look like. It was either that or they're going to be completely wrong, because if Trump wins, the polls have been completely wrong.
Oh yeah, well yeah, it will be wrong a second time, because in 2016 they had it totally wrong, and who knows? I don't know if it's going to turn out that way tonight. I mean, we have to see.
Biden's not as hated as Hillary was, and so he's got that going for him. I mean, no one's inspired by him, but he's not hated the way Hillary was.
Yeah.
People just don't like him. People hated Hillary.
Yeah, I mean, she was just a horrible candidate. They didn't like her, and then she made that deplorable comment about Trump supporters and that kind of stuff. So she was really in bad shape by the time we got to election day. But Biden is, I mean, everything I know, he's supposed to be this likable guy and that kind of stuff. And I mean, I don't particularly like him, but overall, he seems to be a likable guy. And but I don't know how we could even be considering though turning over the reins of power to a man who's clearly having some cognitive challenges. I don't know how we do that. I mean, Trump has his flaws. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I have some major disagreements with that man, and he does say some things that will drive me crazy. But how do you turn over the presidency to somebody who's in clear cognitive decline? I don't understand that. I really don't.
Yeah, Trump makes a bull in a china shop look subtle.
Yeah. Yes, it's true. Indeed. No doubt about that. No doubt about that.
And and we do like some subtlety in our politicians. At least at least some. And so whether you could, even when you does stuff you agree with, you going, can you do it in a better way?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. I mean, there are some things that he does that I do like, but the man sometimes, God, you hear some of the idiotic things that comes out of his mouth to make you wonder, this man is really president of the United States, shit.
Yeah, no, he's done some good things on deregulation. I think.
Yes, yeah.
If I've always looked for a handful of good things, and I can always find a handful of good things every president has done. And so you have, hey, he's done some good things on deregulation.
Yes.
I can't think of much else, but hey, he's done some good things on deregulation.
Jeez, but I don't know, man.
That's a low bar to cross, my friend, though.
It's true. Right. Very true. Very true.
All right, let me hit refresh on this thing.
Okay, they're saying it's too early to call Arizona, Florida, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Minnesota, Texas, and Wisconsin. Too early to call.
Yeah, it's going to be a long night, I think, in terms of that presidential race.
Yes, I think so.
We're going to have to get some. I'm going to send. Well, I've got to send somebody a show link here.
Okay.
Atwater City Council. Michael
Atwater. Where's Atwater again? I'm
between here and Fresno.
Oh yeah. I know. I've seen the sign somewhere.
Yeah, I've seen it exactly. I've driven through it on the freeway. I've seen.
Yes.
And you've always wondered, how does some of those cities get their name, because they're awfully on the nose.
Yeah, indeed.
It's like, hey, is that where the water is? Is that
where the water is, or name after somebody named Atwater? I have no idea.
Yeah, no, it's a.
So James, by the way, what's going on in your race?
In my race, we know nothing at the moment.
Nothing?
Well, no, it's not 8 o'clock. Polls don't close. They won't announce that.
I going by, I'm looking at Fox News and polls have closed already in many places, and I'm thinking California have done the same when
you're going by retired man's time. We know how it is. You know how it is.
What can I say, man? I'm retired. What do you want me to do?
Hey, enjoy the life, man. I swear.
Yeah,
slogging like the rest of us. Hey.
I mean, I didn't expect to spend 3/4 of my time retired in COVID lockdown. So, but here I am,
Hey, you've got to learn some new skills. You get to be a podcast host now, and
Oh yeah.
Now you're hosting election night coverage. It's
I mean, it have forced me to adjust my life, and I mean, I can't say it's been all bad, quite frankly. I cannot say that. But you're right. This online thing that we are doing, I'm getting so much more involved with that. I feel good about that, and I want, even when the COVID is done, I want to continue it.
We're helping spread the words of liberty. I think
There we go.
And
there we go. Yes.
and it's for Counterpoint. That's kind of our whole goal. It's a public access TV show, so it's all about learning and education and becoming better.
Yeah.
And so we just expanded that into kind of a new area, and that's kind of and it gave me it was great training ground for my campaign run, because we got essentially locked in my garage. And so if I hadn't had those skills that this TV show stuff taught me, our campaign would have been in the tank. But we were able to say, okay, what do we do good? Hey, I'm pretty good on video. So we just ran a kind of a video campaign, did videos all the time.
Sure. Yes.
And so in a strange way, it kind of forced the campaign into my sweet spot.
There you go.
Well, you can't run out and have events without kind of violating the law and all that kind of stuff. And if you want to, so it's a strange thing.
Yeah. Well, I guess one of the strengths of the human being is his or her ability to adapt to new situations. And this coronavirus thing was totally unexpected and totally new. And so many of us had to adapt our lives to be able to survive during this pandemic. Do we have a call? The Democrats is going to retain the control of. They say the Democrats are going to retain the control of the House of Representatives. I think everybody expected that.
Yeah, I didn't think anybody. We'll get a couple live aids. Apparently, there's long lines over here at the Sacramento County Elections Office. So anybody who might catch us. I haven't checked the YouTube audience, but anybody here who might happen to catch us in the next few minutes, if you're in Sacramento, make sure you go get your vote if you wanted to do it, because you got an hour and 30 minutes.
A little over an hour and a half to go do it.
To go get it done, and apparently some of these places they have some long lines. So.
Oh wow. Well, this is I saw an interesting thing on Saturday. This of course is California. This, of course, is Biden country. There's no doubt about it. The Democrats control everything in the state. But I was in downtown Grover Beach. Grover Beach is a small city next to the coast. It's about 10 miles south of San Luis Obispo. So I was downtown, and there was this huge rally going on. So at first I thought, of course, it's a rally for because I was coming down a hill, and I thought, well, it must have been a rally for Biden. But it was a Trump rally. Huge rally, cars after cars after cars after cars going by. I couldn't believe it. What's going on here? A Trump rally in California? Whoa! And Trump is not going to win here. We know that, But I couldn't. I did not understand.
Yeah, well, they had this. There was in San Francisco. There was I forget which San Francisco newspaper. There's the Gate or the Times. I forget which one. Ran an article about. They had a big Trump rally down in San Francisco, and they were like all worried. Oh my God, what's this mean? They're all outnumbered, but yet they're still coming out here rallying. Oh, it's horrible. Wait, these are the people who Antifa runs around. It's like down in Berkeley where they've got all these nut jobs, and you're worried about people standing on a bridge waving Trump flags. I don't understand.
I'm not worried about Antifa burning down the place.
Yeah, but once they're boarding up their windows. Because and it's not Trump supporters that they think Tell
me this thing.
I don't understand. But it's
those mostly peaceful protesters is what they're boarding up their stores to protect against, and they're still going to tell us mostly peaceful.
Yeah, it is kind of strange. We're living in strange times, Leon.
Indeed.
All right, let's see if we got anything new over here. So I've got the local station that actually asked for my picture up over here.
Oh wow, okay. Well, hey, that's a good thing. So let me ask you then: Are you foreseeing another run?
I don't know. It wasn't my choice. My community asked me to run, so I had decided for myself I wasn't going to do it, but gig workers kind of talked me into it. It wasn't even the party, or it wasn't even the party members. It was people outside the party that got me to run. So I just used the party as a vehicle, essentially. I mean, I'm the vice chair, so what else am I going to do? I'm going to run as an independent or something, I
I have considered running for office, but I want to do something big. The one
Yeah.
thing, the one office I would truly like to run for is the superintendent of public instruction. Is what I really want to do. I don't know if I'll ever do that, but I would really like to do that. I know that I'm retired. It's something I want to think seriously about because the public schools in this state is horrible. Seriously, especially in the city schools, they are horrible. And if I could leave my mark on there, I would have done something with my life. I really would like to do something with that. I really would. So it's something that I'm thinking about. I don't know if I'll ever get around to it. Obviously, I gotta raise money and all that kind of stuff, which I have no clue about how to even start that, and stuff like that. But
well, there's ways to help. There's people to help. There's you just oddly enough, Leon, you just kind of start. it's once the decision to run for office, it's a heavy decision. Once you decide, I always felt like it was like putting on a suit of armor. Once you make that decision, it's like you stick on the suit of armor and you become something different. You have to be prepared to carry. It's a different weight. It's one thing to run around the city and run around the town and talk and say things on your podcast, and you are the only person you're responsible to, right?
Yes.
But when you're asking to represent the whole community, it's a vastly different weight. Your words have a different meaning.
Sure.
And that logically, but there's no way to describe the actual difference. I don't have the words to actually describe the different feeling.
Well, I think, I would think, though, of course, I've never run for office, but I would think there's this instinctive thing for us to always speak our minds on our own behalf, right? Like we are doing right now, okay? But when you're running for office, true, you want to speak your mind, you want to be honest with the people you're trying to represent, but you really have to speak on their behalf. You have to advocate on their behalf. And that is not instinctive to us. Our first instinct is always to speak on our own behalf. So we have to bridge that gap, shall we say, when we decide to run for public office, which I can see why you could have some difficulties making that adjustment. I think, quite frankly, if I run for public office, I will have a very, very hard time making that adjustment because I have some very, very strong views, which will have a hard time gelling in the public mind. I think that's just my assessment of myself, but.
Well, there's having strong views and expressing them, but it doesn't mean you're closed-minded to other views and to other perspectives. Right. And so it's not necessarily that you have strong views. It's you can do that as long as you're open-minded to hearing. Because as long as people feel they've been heard, then they're actually more receptive to say, I'll give you a chance. I'll try it your way.
Yes. Fair point. That's a very good point. Very good point. Somebody has something here.
Yep, Elizabeth Stump. She's from the LP. Rainwater has 12.5% so far. All this phone numbers. Yes, that's probably exactly what happened, Elizabeth. Is Rainwater was polling up in the 30s and maybe even 40s in a couple of polls. And so if he's polling down here at 12.5%, it means a lot of those people who are disaffected
stayed home.
Decided at the last minute to go back and
either to stay home, yeah.
Yeah, they stayed home or they went back to vote the other way. I doubt they stayed at home. They held their nose and made the worst choice.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the biggest.
What office Rainwater was running for?
Rainwater is Indiana governor.
Oh, governor, Indiana. Okay.
Let me double check. Make sure it's either Indiana or Illinois. Let me double check. I don't want to be wrong. Hoosiers.
That is that's Indiana.
Yeah. So it's pulling at 12.5%, which is it's good for a libertarian. It's just no.
Yeah, it's not good to win, but it's respectable.
Yeah. Well,
no backbone, no conviction. Wow. Elizabeth is really expressing her views here, which is a good thing. Which is a good thing.
We've got to be heard. People have to be heard.
Yes.
And it's true. Well, it's very hard if you've been kind of trained into the duopoly, where literally in school they tell you we have a two-party system, and then you have to break out of that when you kind of get into the real world, and you've got everybody telling you to do different.
Sure.
And the media is not even covering the person you're supporting. Even if you 12.5%, the media should have been covering that.
Oh yeah, I mean that is significant, quite frankly. Yeah. I mean, it's true is a third party, but 12.5%. That's real. That's really real. This ain't 2%. This is something significant.
Yeah, and it's not like they didn't have. It's not like in a two-party race where they have to choose between. Those are people who decided to choose that way. It's not like they were kind of forced. In my race, how many people are going to actually vote for me versus where they're just kind of reflexively voting against the other person? It's hard for me to know.
Right.
We deliberately ran away so we'd lower our floor but raise our ceiling. So we tried to make it that it's most of us as possible, but it's really hard to know. And because we don't do any informal polling or anything like that, it's just whatever people tell me, you kind of have to go by. But that's a self-selective group. You can't always go by that,
Sure, I hear you. So I don't know what's going on so far on the national scene. I lost my connection here.
Well, Trump is now at 50%. Biden's at 48, according to this. Nationally, the vote totals.
Right.
Let's see. Let me go flip to this other page. See if you've updated this one. No, they haven't updated since 5:30.
Oh, okay.
When Trump won Arkansas. No. Yeah, so the last one over here, and I don't have. Any? Hold on, I'm texting with somebody, so. so what's the? Do you have a list of what states have been called so far and for who? Maybe we can do that while.
A direct list. I don't have one in front of me, but right now, North Dakota called, Nebraska called for Trump. New Hampshire is too close to call. Biden is leading. New Jersey called for Biden. New Mexico, too close to call, too early to call. New York, of course, for Biden. We were just talking about that. Heavily Biden.
Yeah. Hey, do they have like a percentage breakdown on New York? I'm just curious if it's like 30, 40 points or something like that.
Yes, about a 30-point difference. And Oklahoma is Trump. Heavily Trump. Pennsylvania, Biden is leading, only 13% in. Rhode Island, Biden. South Carolina, Trump leading, still not called. South Dakota, called for Trump.
Well, that was an easy one.
That was easy. That was really easy. Tennessee called for Trump.
Oh, wait, we've got another comment from Elizabeth. Harris presidency is an Orwellian nightmare. Well, she's got a point.
Oh, yes.
I'm not a fan of a Harris presidency.
Well, I mean, there's no doubt the Democrats intend that Kamala Harris is going to be the president. The question is just when. Is it going to be 6 months or is it going to be a year out? There's no doubt. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, or 4 years. That's the thing. It's
it ain't going to be 4 years because I don't think Joe Biden could last 2 years. Quite frankly, if you want the truth, that's just my thinking. I mean, I am not trying to make a political statement. Okay, I did not vote. I did not vote for Joe Biden, and I was never going to vote for him. Okay, I am just looking at the man. All right. The man is going to be 78 years old in a few days. Okay, I would not have a problem with that, except for the fact that this man is in serious cognitive decline. It is evident. I mean,
it's like the last couple of years of Reagan, but he's doing it in his first couple of years.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, Reagan was going down by the time. Well, as a matter of fact, Reagan was I think around Biden's age at the end of his presidency, rather than like Biden is going to start his presidency at Reagan's age at the end. I mean, if he wins, that is, if he wins tonight. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Okay, what is Elizabeth saying? Harris' presidency is an real nightmare. I don't want to live the end of his presidency if he wins. Yeah, I agree with that totally. It is true. Kamala Harris is to the left of Bernie Sanders, okay? To the left of him. So you think about that, what we're going to be living with under Kamala Harris, if and when she becomes president, if Biden wins tonight. And she is one of the most liberal, left-leaning senators in the U.S. Senate. And I want nothing to do with that woman. It's bad enough she's represented me as a senator from here in California, but I want nothing to do with that woman being president of the United States. Please, God help us on that one. Seriously.
Well, her actions as a prosecutor were bad enough to. Yes. Why the hell is it? She's literally a personification of the problem of problem prosecutors, and yet here she is. She's going to go lead us through this issues of criminal justice reform and justice reform. And I don't buy it. You know, I just don't buy that she's going to give us the type of justice reform that we actually need. Uh-oh.
A lot of minor drug offenses, and I just lost you for a little while there. I wonder what's going on. Is it my internet or yours?
It's probably yours. It lost you for a second, but you're back.
Okay. I don't know what's going on there.
No, Elizabeth. There's no returns in my race yet until after the polls close, and we'll see. Heck, they haven't even counted my ballot yet. So I dropped it off yesterday, and haven't even gotten my thing yet back that says, "Hey, we've got your ballot."
Right, right.
We'll see.
They're supposed to give you they're supposed to mail you something to say they got your ballot.
Well, you can sign up for a "Where's My Ballot" thing.
Oh.
And so they tell you when the post office got it and then they tell you when now I didn't take it to the post office. I went to the voting center and dropped it off in the pink envelope, in the pink box.
Oh, I see.
And then when they get scanned into the system at the sorting facility, and then they tell you when if it's accepted or rejected.
Oh.
Based upon your signature and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's a voting center not far from the house. I just went there and I dropped off my ballot there yesterday. Yesterday I did.
Yeah, I did say there was a brace I didn't actually left blank. I didn't vote for either one. I couldn't bring myself to vote for either one. I almost wrote myself in. I said, well, that's just the same as not voting for either one. So so I just didn't vote for either one. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to vote for him. It's, it was on our local school district. It's a mess. One of the incumbent, and the next one is, it's their entire campaign was run by the unions. And it's like, and it was odd because one's run by the unions and one was from the Democrat Party. And so you've got the unions and the Democrat Party spending $400,000 fighting over a school board seat.
School board seat. Wow. That's amazing. I mean, even nationally, the Democrats have raised the Republicans, I mean, especially on the senatorial level.
Yeah.
They have outspent, I think, I don't know, by 10, 15%, I think. They have outspent the Republicans on all of those competitive senatorial races. Totally outspend them, which was very, very unusual.
There's a lot of strange money in politics this year. My mother out here in Elk Grove, the Elk Grove mayor, she said she's been getting so much mail from him. One day she got 3 different pieces of mails from him.
Wow.
Every day.
Wow.
3 different flyers, and those things are expensive.
Huh.
And then she said they had people drop off flyers with like masks attached to them and all kinds of stuff. These people are spending bank on trying to win a mayor's race. Or man, there's some grifting going on. There's a lot of money to be made.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money to be made in this political system because
what part of Elk Grove your mom lives?
Well, she's in, what is it? Not Natomas. What? Laguna West.
Oh, Laguna West. But that's where I used to live in Laguna West myself, man. I didn't even know your mom lived there. At least
near the Apple thing.
I live across the street from Apple.
Yeah.
Back there. This is where I used to live.
Yeah.
Oh wow! I didn't know our world was this small, man. I didn't know that.
It's a small world.
Small world indeed.
But yeah, so there's just an awful lot of money being spent. And I was actually talking to a homeless man today about politics. We were talking about, running for office and the politics. And he says, all those people who give you money, they all want something from you.
Yes.
I says, well, no, not the people who give you $100. They're just giving you money because they like you. Says, but if anybody who's giving you $500, $1,000, $1,500, or they're going out and working at fundraising, they want something from you in the end, in the long run.
Yeah, indeed.
They want to, whether it's to take a phone call, whether it's to look more favorably towards them on some deal or some other. They don't even know what it is they're asking for yet, but it's an investment in the future.
Yes.
And that's what all this money buys. You have to pay these people to do all this printing and mailing and all that advertising. All that money goes somewhere. Yeah.
Jeez.
And when you ask why come libertarians don't get coverage, well, it's because we don't buy advertising.
Right, exactly. And I mean, we probably need to learn some of the skills of these people to raise some money, man.
Yeah, but we don't get earned media because we don't buy advertising on the media sites.
Right. Well, as I'm saying, we have to raise money to be able to buy advertising.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing. And stuff.
Yeah, but that's our pool to pull from is small. That's the problem.
Sure, it's true.
So we have to. It's the double-edged knife-edged sword, right? We have to grow big enough to have a large enough pool so we can spend it, so we have money to spend. But how do you grow big enough without money to spend?
Chicken and egg problem.
Yeah, you break it up, Leon.
So, how many libertarians?
I lost you, Leon. And I look still live.
Come on. Oh, here you go. I don't know what's going on with my internet, man.
Nah, we'll muddle through.
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on with my internet. I had some problems last week, and somebody came and tried to fix it, but it looked like they didn't fix it. They made things worse. Shoot.
We'll muddle through. We'll get through.
I noticed none of our compadres are joining us. Where's Jason and Tim and all of these guys?
They'll be by. We've got Michael what's his name? I got to get his name properly. Mike. Oh man, I can't pronounce. I am so terrible for a TV host not being able to pronounce names. Michael, who was running for Atwater City District Council 1, will be stopping by sometime at the night to tell us how his race is going.
Cool.
So we've got some people lined up. It's coming through.
Let me say. Let me send them a message.
See, what I can tell you now, though, Leon, is I was right. We should have started at 7.
Yes, true. It's true. The race is still we are still no closer to to having a resolution of this race than at 6 o'clock. So 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, same difference.
Yeah, well, that's the national race. We do have some, and we don't get local stuff until 8 o'clock.
Until after the polls close.
So
yeah.
But hey, this is our first time doing these kind of things. We've got to learn our lessons by doing it. So what do we got? So the national count is 50-49.
Okay, here we go again. I'm sorry, James. I don't know what's going on with my internet, man.
No, we're muddling through, Leon. We're getting through. Donald Trump has a 28 million to 27 million vote lead nationally. Not that national vote mean anything.
Yeah, it doesn't. But
the fact that it's still close.
Yes, I'm surprised at that.
Well, because that's counting the New York vote so far, and so that's
unbelievable.
So the federal judge ordered the UPS, the post office, to sweep for any mail-in ballots in swing states.
Oh, okay.
So,
this mail-in ballot is going to cause some real problems in Pennsylvania now. Some real, real problems, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's that they're so hard to. It takes so long to count. It's not even the mail part. I mean, that's the small percentage. The problems with the mail-in part, there's a small percentage. That only counts going to matter if it's real close.
All right.
Hey, we've got our screaming eagle of freedom over here has joined us.
Oh, yeah, we go.
Whoop, whoop. Yeah, just screamed right into home. Just got home a little while ago from my last flight of the day. And here you guys are. Not a whole lot. Just the three of us, huh?
We have a candidate for the Atwater City Council will be stopping by at some point during the night. Kalish Merrow, who's running for City Council in Hanford, will be with us. We have a candidate for Miss Weber, because I can't pronounce her first name.
Her first name is Miss. I guess
the first name is Miss because I can't pronounce it.
Wow.
She'll be joining us shortly after Kalish. They're at the same party. And we have Oscar Herrera said he should be stopping by about 7:30. He says a little after 7:30 is what he says. So we've got to tell us about what's going on in Ohio and his race in Ohio. And And so we've got some good so we've got some stuff lined up.
So how's the election going, since I don't have a television and don't watch the news, at least the mainstream news?
Yes, several races are not called yet. Arizona, Florida, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Minnesota, Texas, and Wisconsin are all too close to call.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And well, let's see, we had the
right now, I was trying to get the electoral totals right now. I was trying to get the electoral totals, and my internet is acting very strange today, and I don't know why. My phone has frozen for a little bit here. Give me a second, let me see.
Well, we've got the popular vote count. Donald Trump is actually leading at 50% to 48%.
Oh, wow.
And that's after New York that's while New York is being counted. That's including the New York totals. So
oh my goodness.
Let me step away for a second to see if this phone will thing. Give me 1 second. I'll be back shortly.
Oh, Leon's going to reset his modem.
Uh-oh, we're going to lose Leon.
Well, yeah, if he does. Maybe he's not. I don't know.
Yeah. So we've got so actually, let's give us a real chance to kind of reintroduce everybody, because we haven't done it in a while. We've got some new viewers. This is Libertarian Counterpoint. We are a Sacramento, California public access TV show that has turned into a community podcast consortium of sorts as well. Tim Everett is a screaming eagle of freedom on one of the on the main flagship podcast, I guess you can call it now. You've got Leon, the last word Brathwaite, who is off fixing his phone. So you can hear him there in the background. is back there. He's our keeping track of the vote totals and tallies in the national races. We've got Jumpin' Jason McPhee will be around sometime tonight, he says. Well, we should see him. And I'm James Just, the host of the show, of the Counterpoint TV show. So
when Leon lets you have a word in edgewise.
Oh, Leon never lets us have an urge to have words in edgewise. That's why he's called the last word.
Yeah, we're going to have to call him the first, the middle, and the last word here.
You know, I can cheat. I actually have power over here. I can do that.
Ah, there you go. Not bad. Yeah. So I've been told that, and my iPad's telling me it's getting a little low. I was using it a little bit today, more than normal. And I don't think I can reach the plug-in, but yeah, I've been told that if
Trump wins all of these,
if Trump doesn't win,
I'll let you finish. Why?
Yeah, if Trump doesn't win, we'll be part of the New World Order and doom and gloom forevermore. So I'm not sure. And of course, riots, lots of riots. If Trump wins, lots of riots. So I don't know, these dire predictions. I'm not sure.
Boarding up right now. They're boarding up their places right now all over the country. They're expecting riots. If Trump pulls this out, we're gonna have some problems here for the next 2 weeks, I would imagine, at least.
Oh gosh, well I hope not, because I have to get to work on time.
I hear you.
But I thought we were already part of the New World Order. I thought that was already a done deal.
Oh yeah, with Bush Senior. That's true.
Yeah, I thought that was already a done deal. I thought that's what Trump was supposedly fighting.
Yeah,
I thought that was.
It gets confusing. These tyrants can't get their story straight. That's all I have to say. Yeah.
So do we have any update for Tim over there, Leon?
Yeah, what's the latest? Electoral.
Okay, Biden is leading in the Electoral College about 129 to 100.
Oh, okay. Wow. Oh,
but
now
none of the battleground states have been called. Trump is leading in Florida. It looks like he's going to take it. Biden is leading in North Carolina. He might take it. 129 to 100 is the electoral count right now.
Wow.
And Biden is leading. Trump is looking solid in Florida, and Biden is narrowly leading in North Carolina.
Okay.
Trump needs North Carolina to win this thing. I don't know if he could win without it. He might be able to. I'm not sure, but we'll see how that goes.
So let me get this straight. Now, I understand that Trump is leading the popular vote and behind in the Electoral College vote. So there goes my scenario that I said would. Oh my God! It's almost enough to make it worthwhile for a Biden win in the Electoral College and a loss on the popular vote to have so much fun with my Democrat friends when they just switch overnight from Electoral College grumps to Electoral College. What rhymes with grumps? Whatever they would be for the Electoral College, the greatest invention. It will be
Tim. It will be Electoral College trumps. They will trumpet.
Yes.
They play the trumpets. Yes.
Oh, they would. That's for sure. Yeah, it would be trumpeted all over. Who's Elizabeth Stump? Any work on the Harrington Cotton Senate race in Arkansas?
He won. Senator Cotton, the incumbent, won. He won that race.
Okay. So Leon, our man's who's following all these things, they've called the race for Cotton, Senator Tom Cotton. Which I don't know if that was necessarily a surprise, was it?
No, it's not. It's not. He was that was expected to be an easy win, and it turned out to be that way.
Did you see what the percentages are, or can you check the percentages for us?
Hold on.
Oh yeah.
I'll get it, but it'll take a little while.
Yeah. Okay. Me and Tim will sit here and make fun of you while we're at it. So.
Yeah, I don't have much time left because dinner is being cooked and it's probably close to being served. So I'm going to have to bug out anyway. And but I just wanted to stop in, and hopefully I'll get another chance a little later on to after dinner update.
Well, after dinner, come on back, man.
Come on back. We're happy to have you.
Awesome.
And if anybody who wants to catch them, make sure you check them out on Fridays, roughly noon o'clock, except for Jason's always late. So
yes, the host. You mean the host is always late?
Well, you guys are all now co-hosts. You can't blame Jason for being the host. This whole panel stuff that doesn't work anymore. You guys are a team, and so
awesome. If I only had control over the mute button like you do, it'd be fun.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you actually pay me, I'll you can give me hand signals and I'll take care of you.
I'll keep that in the back of my meagerly present mind for now.
All right, Tim, you go eat.
Okay, I'm going to go eat, gentlemen.
Okay.
I'll try to get back ASAP. We'll see you guys.
All right, thank you, Tim.
All right, thank you.
All right, so for those of you who are joining us, that was Tim Everett. He's a co-host on the. You guys really need to give that show a name, Leon. I don't even know what to call it.
I know.
You're the Libertarian Counterpoint Community Podcast. And that's too wordy for.
Of course, definitely. Anyway, our next get together, I'll push out this year a little more. We really do need to get a name for the show, and Friday we definitely have a show. Okay, here comes Elizabeth again. 3 counties gold and stuff like that.
3 counties gold in Illinois. All right.
Okay.
I'll have to go pop over to the messenger and I'll take a look.
Okay.
So if you can fill some time, Leon, for about 30 seconds while I go do this.
Okay.
Sorry, just one more thing. What we've seen, the foreign storming over the past several days. We saw.
All right, so I'm gonna go hop over into this thing. We've got
Are we to believe that had an impact, that it drove out more for him in some of these places?
I gotta find her comment.
That it didn't.
Well, we know that Donald Trump's base is Donald Trump's base. Up for him, they will vote. They will stand out in the freezing cold. Anything. So
where's she commenting from?
The question is, were there motivators for Democrats in those urban areas?
So there's
television 5 times a day.
polls in Iowa is about to close. Over the weekend, there was some good news there for the Trump campaign, but we don't know how that will turn out. It should close in I guess in about 6 minutes, I think.
Yeah, Iowa's an interesting place. I'm not sure how it's going to go. A lot of those Midwest states you can kind of know, but I'm not sure with Iowa. It's
well, Trump took it the last time, and there's a senatorial race there. Joni Ernst is running there, and she was way behind for a long time, but now it looks like she may pull it off. I am not sure about that. That's based on the.
Okay, so I mean.
So the Fox News decision desk, minus Chris Darwell for just a minute, has made some decisions that we want to share with you. President Trump will defeat former Vice President Joe Biden.
I know. There's one thing about this commenting system is it doesn't. Let me go look for John Ferraro. Hold on. And I do apologize. We're learning how to do this on the fly.
Okay, Trump in a non-surprise win. Trump wins South Carolina. Lindsey Graham, senator, also beat the Democrat challenger there. It looked like if these numbers hold, it's going to be decisive.
Here we go. It won't show me the file. Anyway, it won't show me the file. I was going to show the picture, but it won't show it to me for some reason.
Okay.
So I don't know why that is. Oh, we have to be careful with what they can hear over the thing, Leon, because YouTube will cut us off.
Oh. My apologies.
No, it's it's a hard lesson I've learned. It's I didn't think they could hear it. I had one low last time I was doing something like this, just kind of low off in the background. And they said you had 20 seconds of this, and so I don't know how long it's, but they're listening. Those things they're listening for that stuff.
Yeah, I think there's a copyright issue involved with that. I think there's some kind of copyright issue.
Yeah, yeah. Well, YouTube treats it differently than Facebook. So I don't know what the difference is, but they just do. So, but because we're live on YouTube as well, I had to. Yeah, that's why I've got my earpiece. That's why I've got my earpiece. That's where I learned my lessons.
Maybe I could put on one earphone then and see if that could help.
All right, now I do. Do we have anything? When does Ohio close? Do we know?
Ohio is already closed, but they're saying it's too close to call.
Do you have? Oh, I need to go find races in Ohio. There's a couple races where libertarian races in Ohio we're interested in watching. Do we have? Let me.
There's libertarian races in Ohio.
Yeah, state races. I think. There's a handful of them. Harrington Jr. No, Harrington. Anyway. Well, and they're reporting. Let's see. So far in Ohio, Joe Jorgensen is polling at 1%.
Okay.
In Ohio. So let's see what else we've got. U.S. House race.
I think the Democrats going to keep control of the House and they're going to expand their majority, to be honest. I think that's what Fox is reporting.
Okay, so Ohio Stout Race District. I think it's District 9. They're not reporting. They're only reporting the top two. What? I'm going to have to go check and see which district Oscar's in just so I can.
Okay.
I just want to make sure I know. I thought it was District 9, but I could be wrong. I've got so many 96. I knew it had a 9 in it.
Wow. We have 96 candidates throughout the country.
Well, in Ohio, there's 96 assembly districts.
Oh,
or,
96.
I don't know how many there actually is. There's at least 96.
Oh, okay. Some polls.
We got Oscar Herrera is polling at 3% in his Ohio district, and he was a lone candidate. He was his own treasurer, his own campaign manager, and so polling at 3% in a three-way race. You know, he's a fine young man. He's only 25. He's been doing this thing for like 2 years, and so it's I personally found him very inspiring, and so it's going to be nice to have him come by and we can get a chance to talk to him.
Absolutely.
I'm sure he's going to be disappointed, but I don't think he should be, considering where he's starting from. And I think his journey is just beginning. And I think many of us who, don't have ultimate success tonight have to be careful not to become too down on ourselves. Especially libertarians. We're facing uphill battles as libertarian candidates. We're facing uphill battles. We don't have the money. We don't have the name recognition. We don't have the trained staff. We don't have the grifters who are willing to help for their own purposes. Right. And so, we're starting from. If we want to take my race for an example, I started my race $450,000 behind my opponent.
Whoa! My God.
That's what yeah. And last month he had $600 something thousand, and I had raised 3,400 or something like that.
Okay. Jeez.
But
you are at a significant disadvantage.
yeah,
Seriously.
there's no way I could win a traditional race. So in fact, oddly enough, the COVID helped because I didn't have to run a traditional race. No one was going to expect me to run a traditional race, so it gave me the freedom
All right.
to not run one without having to explain it. I could have done it before, but then I would have had to spend half my time explaining why I'm running the race the way I am. I only have to do it a couple times. Before I had to do it all the freaking time. Why are you running it? Just you have to go and explain it yourself. So there's an advantage. But I also want to tell everybody it doesn't cost as much money as we think to run an effective campaign. If I had $50,000, I could have made a real run.
Okay.
Knowing what I know now, not knowing what I knew when I started. That's the key. It's knowing what I know now.
I wonder if now that you say all this, if I ever get serious about trying to run a statewide race, which is probably what I want to do, I wonder what would I need to start, right? I wonder about that. I mean, because I had to play in several big markets too.
Well, if the traditional way, see, you've already got an advantage. You've written some books, so you've got economic.
One book.
But you're an author, but still,
yes,
you're an author. You've got a book, so. We're not going to know. Well, we'll get back to that conversation in a second. We'll answer Elizabeth.
Yes, we did. Yes.
We don't know anything about California until 8 o'clock, at least.
You're right.
Brad Barron in Kentucky. Hey, Brad Barron for Senate race in Kentucky. When we get a chance, there we'll look him up.
All right.
But yeah, what you have to do, Leon, is you get in contact with some people. If you're going to run as a libertarian or if you're going to run independent, you have to kind of make that decision. Or Republican or whatever it is you're going to do. First you have to make that decision. And then you get connected with the people who in those power structures who can help you.
True.
If it's libertarian power structures, I can connect you with groups. I know who to help, who to contact you, who can give you kind of the resources, who to help. But your main thing is you need a campaign manager and a treasurer. If you can get those two things, you don't want to do those two things by yourself. Now, the roles of a campaign manager can change between your campaign. That's defined between you and the campaign manager. But you need someone to both push you and to check you and to be your sounding board.
Right. Yes.
And you also need someone who you can implicitly trust.
Well, without a doubt.
So that's the hard part about being right. That's why finding a good campaign manager is hard, because that's an insanely difficult role to fill. It is, but that's why they're worth their weight in gold. Because as a candidate, you become dumber the minute you decide to run.
No, you'll have to explain that one, though. Explain that one.
Well, it's because you are learning so much and have so much new responsibilities from new perspectives on your head at once that you simply can no longer think of all the things. You no longer have the time to think of all the things you need to do. And so you have to learn to outsource some of that. And it just makes you dumber. It's just the pure, you have so many things going on from so many different levels that on so many different, you have to think strategy and who do you talk to and what do I have to say? And just the basic functions take up so much of your thought time that actually thinking about policy actually becomes almost secondary to, everything else.
Right.
And so it's very hard, but it's also very rewarding. It's one of the most rewarding experiences I've been on. So, if you do it right, it's one of the most rewarding things, because you have people in your community turn to you and say, yeah, we think you can help.
Sure.
Or you get inspired, or when you inspire people to run for office or to do their own, or to try something, to become more, you get more. I got far more out of this than I put into it, regardless of whether I win or lose. And we've frozen Leon again. All right, so let's look up. I'm going to look up, while Leon is frozen, I'm going to look at Brad Barron in Kentucky. And I apologize for our technical difficulties, but in the days of COVID, we can always understand. Brad Barron is polling at just under 4%, 3.96. I'm trying to see. Man, he's pretty consistent across the state. So he's polling about 4. Brad Barron's polling about 4% in Kentucky. And that's actually a good notice for what Elizabeth is doing, giving us something to check on, because like I said, for those who weren't here in the beginning, I dumped a bunch of water onto my kitchen floor about 20 minutes, half hour before airtime. And so I didn't get to do the finishing work that I had planned on for getting tonight's show ready. So we're a little bit behind schedule. Where Leon is having technical difficulties, and I am thirsty. Okay. It's close in Florida. It says, see the prediction. Cory Booker, and then the Cotton wins from Arkansas. Yeah, Tom Cotton win in Arkansas. We talked about that. What were those other Ohio races? Does anybody know the names? I'm yeah. We get. Oh wait, is Gail? You here for a? No. Okay, so Gail is our producer back there. He's the person responsible for us, but he's apparently just wanted to stop by and say hello, see how we were doing. But we've lost Leon. He had some internet issues at his house, so we're trying to get him back. Tim Everett is eating dinner, and he'll be back for that. We've got Oscar Herrera was going to stop by here in about half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour or so. We also have got Kalish Morrow will be stopping by later. Hopefully, I don't, man, these people pronouncing their names. Michael Nogura, who is a city councilman running for city council in Atwater, is scheduled to stop by at some point this evening, which would be a nice visit. We get a chance. I'd meant to try to get him on the TV show, and I failed to do that before the election. That was kind of my fault. Well, no, it wasn't kind of my fault. It was my fault. Okay, Trump wins Alabama, South Carolina. Biden wins Colorado in the national races. Hickenlooper defeats Cory Gardner in Colorado. That's kind of what we've got lined up. CNN has Biden with 89 and Trump with 72 electoral votes so far. Trump is still leading in the popular vote. No, I don't think that will hold once you start counting the West Coast, but it's interesting that Trump is leading in the popular vote. I don't know if there's something there. I don't think he ever led in the popular vote 4 years ago. And so either red states are just better at counting, or red counties are better at counting, or what? Or if there's a wave of Trump voters. And how does that wave play out in some of these battleground states? Gail, how you doing today?
Hey, James. I'm doing good. I was still setting things up when I popped in last time, and one of my settings blew me off the stage. Anyway.
Yes.
So, how's the election doing? Has anybody won anything? Okay, not yet.
Well, there's a handful of people who have won stuff. Tom Cotton won his election. He beat Harrington? He beat the Libertarian candidate.
Mitch McConnell's got his seat again, so we know who's going to be running that organization.
Yeah. Donald Rainwater in Indiana was last time we checked was polling at about 12.5%.
Cool.
So there was a group of disaffected voters who ended up changing their minds and going back to the old ways of voting. And because just a couple of weeks ago he was polling at like 30%, 35% in a three-way race. But I guess when it came down to actually voting, they reverted to old habits. And
so if I focus on another screen, does it drop me?
No, it shouldn't.
Okay. So the presidential race right now is 131-98 Biden.
Which one are you getting it from?
Associated Press.
Okay. Because I've got CNN. They're behind, I guess. CNN's got it 89-72.
Okay.
But I just, who knows who they haven't called or called yet. So I'm looking for, I wonder what the difference is. They've got, Biden is currently leading in Iowa, but I don't know if that's going to hold. That's an interesting one.
So Iowa, Biden 64, Trump 34.
Yeah, there's no way that holds.
Well, it looks like Biden's going to win it. It's he's got 2/3. The numbers will go down, but Minnesota 61.1 to 39 Biden. Wisconsin is 51.5 to 47 Trump. Michigan 51.1 to 42.2 Trump. Pennsylvania, this has been a battleground, 51.1 to 46 Trump. So that's like Biden doesn't want to lose that one.
So what, Pennsylvania is leaning towards Trump?
Yes.
Biden needs Pennsylvania.
6-point spread right now.
James, can you hear me?
Yes. Welcome back, Leon.
Hello, Leon.
I'm having all.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
You all right there, Leon? Nope. Leon's still having technical difficulties over here.
James, we need to look at what it takes to get some serious connections for some people. And if that's something we need to provide, or if it's something we can help them provide. But we need to get, I noticed that on the Counterpoint shows that sometimes we have trouble with Richard Fields.
Yeah, Richard, I think it's well, if you can, using a wired connection is always better. It's a lot of people are using Wi-Fi, and there's simply there's too many variables.
Yes.
With Wi-Fi.
Do we just need to buy him a LAN cord?
No, I don't know. We'll have to yell at Richard and ask.
If it's a matter of a land court, I can provide that.
We'll have to ask Richard and that. It may just be, I know sometimes it's, locations or something. So,
Well, in real estate, there's three things, and it may apply here also: a location, location, location.
oh yeah, I've got Lindsey Graham fends off challenger from Jamie Harrison in South Carolina. Yep. Are we back, Leon?
The picture changed.
Yeah, I heard him for a second.
I don't have a camera at home, and I didn't bring my laptop with me, so I've got a Sony, or not a Sony, but Logitech Brio at the office. Okay, so I'm bragging.
Well, we've got Lindsey Graham. One has been called, so we get Lindsey Graham again.
Can you guys
Yay.
hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. You're back, Leon. Yep, and we can actually see your eyes move. Oh, and now he's lost again. Leon's actually pretty good with the connection since he's moved, but I guess he's having issues. Okay, so let's get us. The problem is we still have 45 minutes before California polls close, and we can actually start reporting stuff on California.
Florida is leaning to Trump, 51-47. So about 400,000 votes going to Trump margin. Texas, some were saying is a toss-up state, but it's 50%, 50.8% Trump, 47.9 for Biden. So there's a third party in Texas?
Yes, there is. And there's a couple of big races, libertarian races.
Wonder who the third party in Texas would be.
Well, they're trying to there's some ballot access issues, so I know they're pushing hard in Texas. I know libertarians are pushing hard in Texas.
Yeah, I think Joe Jorgensen's on the ballot there.
Yeah, and well, they also had
I was making a point there.
well, they don't. Sometimes they report them, and sometimes they don't. Do you see any? Full details. Here we go. See, they're not reporting. I don't have any reporting for Jorgensen. They only report Trump. And do you have any numbers for the fuller numbers?
I have 50.8 and 70 or 47.9. And if you add those two and subtract them from 100, you come up with what Joe's probably getting.
I just hate that these people are so dishonest that they won't actually just put, the actual vote count on there. It's not like you're in the old days where, newspaper space actually costs money. This is the internet. It doesn't cost any money to put another thing on there. It's just so dishonest. And ever since my interview with the B editorial board, it's just clear these people are not serious about informing the public on the issues that are going on in their communities. They're interested in having whatever discussion they want to have.
Yeah.
And it's really it's a disservice to the public, and it's no wonder they're all going bankrupt. It's
So it looks like Joe Jorgensen is getting 1.3% in Texas.
Now, see, that's going to be disappointing because I've been seeing her at 1% in most of these states. And if she's only polling at 1%, that's kind of a disappointment.
Yeah. Well, people say they're voting, and then they get there and they decide they need to vote for the lesser of two evils when they get there.
Yeah, it's all the pressure, I guess.
But what if doesn't win?
Yeah.
Or what if this guy wins? I really need to oppose him. And instead of just, I think we would have done well to try to snag the Republicans into campaigning for us. If you really are a Democrat voter, but you can't handle this guy, vote for this gal. Just take one letter off Joe's name and it'll work.
Okay, so I'm trying to what? So I'm looking for Danny Maloof in Illinois. Mm-hmm. U.S. Senate.
Well, I don't imagine I'll get any updates for about 8 minutes.
No, and they're not, and I don't have any reporting on the Danny Maloof in. It's Dick Durbin won, but they're not giving me any actual results. Yeah, I know.
On my phone, I actually was getting state results for Congress and the Senate. I'm not getting that here at home.
Yes, it would be nice, David, if Joe Jorgensen got an electoral college vote, but if you want to do that, they have to focus on like a single state like Alaska or someplace and just really hardcore push in a single state if they wanted to get Illinois, U.S. Senate. Danny Maloof is polling at 2%.
Okay.
He's actually polling behind Willie Wilson of the O party. I'm not sure what party that is. But it's Durbin won at 53%. It's the incumbent Democrat. The Republican got less than 40. And then Willie Wilson. I don't know what the O party is. I've never heard of an O party. I don't know what the acronym is for. But so Danny Maloof is at 2% on a called state. So we're polling 2%. It's almost annoying, but it's not really surprising, I guess. What else we got here? Yeah, we're kind of hanging loose while we're waiting for California results at this stage.
I'm going to see if I got a password for the New York Times.
All right, so we've still got, let's see. So the local, we've got Biden 131, Trump 98. But Trump is still winning the national vote, and he's held that 2% margin this whole entire night. Which is strange to me that Trump is holding that 2%.
News services all over this country once every 4 years.
What's that?
I said I log into all these news services about once every 4 years.
Yeah, so it's another weird election day that's not going to make any sense, I think. So it's the Senate count is 43-41 Democrat. Of course, currently the House is 76-102 Republican, so it tells you how much it actually means.
Yeah, that's why I'm looking at it on the New York Times.
So it doesn't actually mean very much.
And there's a whole lot that's not showing here yet.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm looking at this map, and why Illinois I guess it's Illinois or Michigan or Wisconsin. If Trump wins Pennsylvania, though, that's going to be all weird. It's going to send everything into a feeding frenzy.
Well, that could mean he wins by somewhat of a landslide.
Oh, no, there's no landslide today.
You never know.
Well, because we still got California at 55, so Biden's essentially already at almost 200. Biden's already at 200 if you count Oregon and California and Washington, which will go his way. So he's already at 200. But I don't see where he's going to pick up 70. I just don't see 70 more. I don't see 70 more electoral votes for Biden.
And if that's the case, if he only gets to 200,
He'll get more, but
that'd put Trump at 340.
no, he'll get more than 200. But I just don't see where he's going to get 70 more. I don't see 70 more electorals on the map for him because you've got 55 in California, 7 in Oregon, and 12 in Washington. So that's 75, 74, right?
I'm making no predictions until the polls close in California.
So that's 10, 20, 23, 33, 39. I don't see how he gets to 270. I don't see how Biden gets to 270.
I was looking at the numbers. It's shaky.
I mean, I can see how he can get to 230, maybe even 240.
So what I'm saying is a prediction that he is going to take who? He just lost some.
Well, because he's lost Pennsylvania. They had him going at Pennsylvania. And if he loses Pennsylvania and Florida, he's toast. He can't get 270.
Okay, right now, Biden is leading in Arizona, Iowa, and New Hampshire. Right now, Trump is leading in Florida, Georgia, Michigan, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Wisconsin.
Yeah, I don't see enough potential Democrat states to get to 270.
Yeah.
He needs 139, and I've got, if he gets all these potential Democrat states, it's 6, 16, 19, 23, 33, 44, and that's plus this, what, and then the 75 from the West Coast, 74 from the West Coast. So that's 110. So yeah, he's at 240. I don't see how he's getting to, he's about 240. I don't see how he's getting to 270.
Well, I think Pennsylvania was important for him. And I think Florida was important for him.
Well, in Pennsylvania, Joe Jorgensen is polling at 2.7%, so that's nice.
Yes.
In a big battleground state like that, that's a good, because all the pressure to vote for one of the two, and that's in these battleground states is there's a lot of social pressure in these battleground states to hold your nose and vote for one or the other.
Is she on the ballot in Florida?
Yeah, she's on the ballot in all of them. Let's go back and maybe take a look back to the map. Where the hell did my map go? In Florida, she is polling at, let's see what they've got. Wow, 0.63%.
I'm sorry?
She's polling at 0.63 in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the social pressure in Florida must be off the chain because all these I don't think the third parties combined are polling at 1%. Howie Hawkins is at 0.13.
Yeah, what I was looking at was between the two of them, it's 99.1.
Yeah, so that the social pressure in Florida must be off the freaking charts. Because we should get 1% just by showing up. And so if we're not, oh, hey, here we go. We got some comments. Where do these Republicans hide? They're like chameleons. I'm saying. All even to the stars like India are getting. It's disappointing that we're only actually getting about 2%. We'll be lucky to hit 3%. I know a lot of people wanted to hit 5%, wanted the Libertarians to hit 5%, but sadly, I don't think we're going to do it. I think the social pressure was too much for too many people this time. I think, there's too many first-time voters. I don't want to say got chicken because that's not fair to them, but that's it's just a hard thing. It's a hard thing to break that kind of social pressure.
It is. I wish there was a cure there.
Yeah, well, the cure's there is just keep working hard and trying to grow that percentage. And as our percentages get higher, it's easier to get to the next one. We've had some success here in Sacramento. We're now over 10,000 registered Libertarians here.
Okay.
When I started as vice chair a year and a half ago, what is it now? We were at 7,400. So we've made some gains. We've done some good work here in this last year or so, Gail.
Well, I'll tell you, a few years ago when I was involved with the state party, we sat around one day and we set a goal, and without having enough follow-up on that goal, we picked up about 3% in California. Just setting the goal, just telling people we're going to raise our registration, and we're still developing a plan on how we're going to do that when the numbers start going up.
Yeah, well, I think Libertarian Counterpoint plays a role. We're helping teach average people how to speak, how to express themselves, how to engage in the community. I know from my own run, my counterpoint training has been invaluable in this run for office.
And we've got the Libertarian podcasts on Monday nights now.
Yeah, do we have is it a set schedule, or are they just kind of throwing us up? Oh, cool.
We have, I believe it's 5:30 Monday nights, and I am obligated to send them a show every week.
So, and for all of you out there, creating these shows isn't as hard as it might seem once you learn how to do it. Getting the initial set of skills is a learning curve like anything else. But once you kind of get the routine, it's just a matter of making sure you set the time and do the routine. It's a highly rewarding experience.
And you can get on a show with James, and he'll introduce you and coach you along, and it will work. And then when you're done, I sit there and do the hard part of making it look good. Put an intro on it, a tail on it, and then send it out there and put it on the air.
And welcome to our Counterpoint podcast co-host. There, you've been downgraded to a co-host, but we've given you but while you're not here, we've given you a nickname. You're now Jumpin' Jason McPhee.
Jumpin' Jason, okay. So somebody else intros, there I go. Yeah, so how you guys doing? I have to confess, I had a long day, so I had a nap before the show. So I feel like Rip Van Winkle. What's going on?
No, we're doing good. Trump is doing surprisingly well. We're actually looking at the map, and we don't see how Biden gets to 270.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting.
I'm kind of looking at the map, so it's a strange thing. I'm actually glad you're here, Jason. Now, because I need a bathroom break.
How are you doing, Gail? A long time.
Well, you can't see me, but you can hear me.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Jason, I hope you can cover me for 5 minutes while I go to use the little boy's room.
Sure.
So you got it. So you got some stuff that you and Gail can work through some things. so far Jorgensen's polling. We're rushing. She's averaging about a little over 2%. I mean, in Florida, they're hammering third parties in Florida. She's at 0.63. But every place else, she's hovering a little over 2%. So it's kind of a disappointment. You know, we were kind of hoping she'd be a little higher than that, but it is what it is.
But is 2% on par with where Gary Johnson finished, or is that?
It's a little less. Gary Johnson did a little bit better.
He was
and in a sense,
10%.
yeah, in a sense, I kind of expected it. Johnson has a bit more gravitas because, you know, he's been a governor. And so that had a bit more, you know, people were easier to say, oh, well, he's experienced. So I think
How's the Senate races going in Arizona?
Let's see. Arizona Senate race. Arizona hasn't been polls closed yet, I don't think.
Well, I've got District 3 is closed already for the Assembly, not the Assembly, for Congress. And the Democrat beat the Republican 67-32. Oh, here's another one just closed. The Republican beat a write-in and the Democrat 65-34 to 1.
But a write-in got 1% or one vote?
0.1%.
No, so they got one vote. Him and his friends. All right, so I'm going to leave you guys for a couple minutes because I've got to go take a break. But I'll be right back because it's going to be a long night for me. So I've got to get a refresh on a soda and you know, so I'll leave it to you guys.
Arizona closes at 7:30.
Yeah, well, they have their weird time zones, don't they? Don't they split? Or anyway, it's time zones drive me crazy. So, all right, anyway, I'll be right back.
Well, so Gail, how long have you been following it tonight? Have you been following it most of the day, or did you just get into it?
Actually, I was working today, and I left my office just before 6 o'clock and started checking up on the races. My cell phone on the way home.
Yeah, I had a kind of a bad sleep the previous last night, so I just been trying to limp through work today. when I wrapped up, I just crashed for about an hour and a half, but I feel recharged to face whatever the results bring us tonight. So.
Well, I think what's happening, Biden's boost was the northeast states there, the New England states, with the exception of Maine, and Pennsylvania and North Carolina. Well, North Carolina's not really a New England state, is it? So he got his boost there, and then he's really only got Colorado and New Mexico.
Okay. Well.
And Illinois, and Illinois doesn't surprise us. We expect that Chicago will vote for a Democrat.
Yeah, they'll stick blue through riots and COVID, no matter what. They're staying true to blue, I guess.
All right, you guys. I'm actually bringing in a backup director just in case one of the guests pop in while I'm here. So I'm going to pop off camera, but Christina's going to be sitting in my seat. So if someone comes in, she can click in, or if someone posts a comment, she can bring it on the screen. So
cool.
So you guys aren't actually alone, but it's going to look like it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll wait your return. Well, I guess what time do the polls close here in California? Is that like about 8 o'clock or something?
8 p.m. for
8?
California.
Okay.
So we've got about 20 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I thought they were kind of going for some kind of an early bird special when they wanted to start this around 6 o'clock because I figured, we're not going to have a lot of results here in California. I mean, I'm really interested in the propositions. There's a lot of, as usual with California, there's a lot of bad stuff going on, and that's we got a lot of rent control stuff on the ballot, and we've got Prop 16, which is sort of the state going backwards on sort of racist ideas and such. So I'm very curious.
And Ward Connolly worked so hard to get that in there.
Yeah,
the old Prop 209, if you remember it.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. I actually have relatives that knew him because I guess he had. I believe he had children who were in the Sakai marching band at the same time that my relatives' kids were in there as well. So they actually met him, and they said he was a great guy. So
Yeah, I've listened to him speak several times. I've never met the gentleman in person, but I've heard him on talk shows, and I've heard him speak with others, and I had a lot of respect for the gentleman. His ideas were well thought out, well focused, and he was able to carry the day when he put 209 on the ballot.
Yeah. Yeah,
And before they defended it, and he was able to carry it through.
Yeah.
Some people say he's not really black.
Yeah, it's amazing how that goes. If you don't march lockstep in blue, then somehow you've they take your racial identity away from you, I guess.
You're not black if you don't vote Democrat.
Yeah. So, and they've they make sure everybody knows that too. One of the things we did recently on the show, we have this segment called the Knucklehead Noise Patrol, and so apparently that rapper 50 Cent had said that he was voting for Trump instead of Biden because he didn't want to go from being 50 Cent to 20 Cent. And so his ex-girlfriend, I guess, this white gal named Chelsea Handler, I'm not sure if she's an actress or something, but she got all upset at him saying that, hey, don't you know you're black? You're not supposed to, go for Trump. And I mean, it's just like, oh my gosh, these people, you wonder if they have, their own special set of, I guess hoods or, racial identity, I guess some kind of cult thing. When they get together, they just identify each other as by their skin color, and that's it. I mean, it's just some kind of illness, I guess. I don't know, but yeah. So, well, I'm definitely kind of curious to see how this goes because it's just hard to believe that they could actually have something in our constitutions that says the government can't discriminate on the basis of race or sex, and somebody wants to take that out. It's just hard to believe, that people want the government to discriminate that way, but that's what the people pushing Prop 16 want.
Well, this is California.
Yeah. So it's pretty horrible.
Somebody once explained to me that this is California, home of the fruits and the nuts.
Yeah, it's a different reality out here, I guess. And of course, every year, as we watch the homeless situation and everything else get worse, it just puts the exclamation point on, what a different universe this is. So.
Well, and a lot of people know who I am, but don't know what I do. And I get to vote on homeless funding almost every month because of my seat on the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Commission. So there's proposals coming. Some of them are funded by the state, some of them are funded by the federal government, and the city and the county are always looking for ways to get more state and federal money because it would be a shame to spend local money on things that might help.
Yeah. Well, it's I tell you, it's absolutely, you just can't miss the fact that this is clearly a policy-driven issue. When you look at, HUD, they put out a report every year, and I was kind of surprised when I first saw that, but I caught it about 2 or 3 years ago, and it just shows. I mean, the red states, they're literally, about half or a third in many instances of what the problem is in blue states with homelessness. I mean, in fact, they use kind of an odd metric. They say homeless per 10,000. So that's kind of how they do it. And in California, it's actually for unsheltered homeless, it's like I believe it's around 50 or 60 per 10,000. It's just a ridiculously high number. Whereas you go to a place like Texas or something, and it's closer to 10. So I mean, it's just the numbers you just can't miss. What a difference it is.
Well, take a look at the LA's numbers and compare them to a lot of the rest of the state. LA is taking us down that road by itself quite a ways.
Yeah. Well, and it seems like people were fleeing right and left. I just, it's funny, before the this whole COVID drama that we've been having this year and the government shutdowns, me and my kids went out and we saw quite a bit of live music back in 2019. And one of the bands we saw as it came through Sacramento was Kiss. They were here in early 2019 down at the new arena that we have downtown. And Gene Simmons, I guess, just recently left the state. He's headed for the state of Washington. So, and I think the big issue with him was, it's they're just charging. I guess he didn't want to go from being 50 cent to 20 cent also. So it's but it's terrible. I mean, they keep jacking up the price, assuming that people are just going to stay here and pay and watch the terrible results that they deliver. And finally some people, I guess, are just getting fed up with it and they're picking up and leaving.
Yeah, it would have been nice if they'd have voted differently a few years ago and avoided some of these problems. It's they're willing to disrupt themselves and move halfway across town, halfway across the country. But I'll be damned if they're going to vote differently. I don't get it. It's the strangest thing. Of course, a lot of them are actually libertarians leaving. So I can't even make that complaint because a lot of my libertarian friends are planning to leave. But they're on their way out, so they've kind of given up here and said I can go try and live my libertarian life somewhere else.
So I'll throw an interesting metric at you, Jason. 17%.
Wow. So 17%.
17% is the highest tax rate you should ever go to.
Oh, okay. So
because you raise it above 17% and you lose GDP as you go up from there, and your taxes, your income for the state stays the same.
okay.
The optimal point of income for the state is 17%. And at 17%, the economy flourishes and more money comes in. You go above 17%, you begin to lose income. And so the percentage goes up. The people are taxed more, but the state doesn't get any more cash.
Well, because people change their behavior. It's
so 17% then is the sweet spot on the Laffer curve. Then that's the guy who used to be an economist for, I think, Reagan. I think it was. So
yeah. So give a bit update on some of the more famous libertarian races while I interrupt your guys' conversation here. Donald Rainwater is polling at just under 13%, 12.88. I know we were all hoping for a better result. It looks to not be a good night for us libertarians, and kind of, at least on the big races. I'm guessing that we're going to have a better night locally than we do on the bigger races. I suspect that our local candidates are going to actually perform well, but I think it's hard for people to pull this to break the duopoly in such these obvious races. I think they're kind of, you have to break that mindset early. It's rather than in these big races. In a sense, in California, race people like me who have a two-party race, a two-person race, where it's one or the other, maybe you have a better shot because those people who are fence sitting, they've got nowhere else to go. it's either the other guy or you. But if you've got, big party A, big party B, or small party C, D, and E, the social pressure we've been talking about that. It's the social pressure, because Jorgensen, she's not doing well in a lot of these states, and they kind of had the right message this time. Spike was a great messenger. He didn't play the hardcore anarchist message, which doesn't play well nationally. But he didn't dismiss it, but he didn't run on it. He did a very good job. I was very impressed with how Spike ran his vice presidential campaign. Leon, you're back.
I am having all kinds of internet problems, guys. I totally apologize, but I don't know what's going on. I'm on my phone right now.
Hey, well, we've got you back, Leon. That's the important thing. And hey, this whole thing started with me dumping about 5 gallons of water on my kitchen floor 20 minutes before airtime. So it's been one of those days.
Okay.
Well, that's nothing compared to what the government's going to drop on you after the election.
Yes, that's true.
Hey, I'm going to step away just for a second. I'll be back. I want to run and grab something out of the other room, so I'm going to mute, but I'll be right back.
All right, thanks, Gil.
Okay.
Leon, what have you learned besides your internet is driving you crazy? Have you been following anything?
Well, I can't follow nothing. I've lost some internet connection, but I think Biden is still leading on the electoral college, like 129 to 1 something. I don't have the exact numbers.
Yeah, we were looking at this, and it's strange because I don't see how Biden gets to 270.
I don't know.
I mean, he's leading right now, but I don't see how he gets to 270.
Well, are they calling states at this point? Because I thought there was a tremendous amount of vote by mail that was going to take a while to finalize.
They are calling some states right now. I mean, but there are several states that are too close to call. And Trump have won quite a few. Biden has won quite a few, but Biden is leading in the electoral college right now.
Yeah, I've got the AP map up here from our local ABC 10 station.
Okay. Okay.
But if you've got Biden 131, Trump 108, but I'm sitting here counting, all these left-wing states, these Biden states that are left, and even if Biden gets all of them, I don't see how he gets to 270. If I look all these states leaning red, I guess it depends on Michigan.
It might be. Yes, it might depend on Michigan. That's true.
Michigan, if Michigan flips, goes to green, goes to blue. Then maybe he can get it. But right now it's shaded red.
Yeah, I know it's leaning. Well, Trump is leading there right now. It's leaning red, but they didn't call it yet for him.
But when Pennsylvania went red, they've got Pennsylvania going red, and it looks like it's going more red. The count is going Trump's way.
Okay. And
if that actually happens, then I don't see how Biden gets to 270. There's no way.
Well, if Trump gets Michigan and Pennsylvania, I don't think Biden can win, to be honest. I don't think he can win.
Yeah, unless he did something like picks up Florida or Texas, but I don't see that either.
I don't think he pick up Florida. Trump is leading in Florida, and I think Trump is also leading in Texas, to be honest.
So it's a man. What are the Democrats going to do if Biden doesn't win? Because they've been telling themselves that Biden had this huge lead. It's a done deal.
Yeah. Well, if what they're gonna do is they're gonna get out on the streets and riot, Black Lives Matter and Antifa and all of them. That's what's gonna happen.
Is there any going to be soul searching tonight or tomorrow night when this thing is done? Is there going to be any, hey, we're that bad that we've lost to Donald Trump twice?
Oh, no. It'll never be a self-admission. It's always going to be the Russians or something else.
Yes, the Russians, the Iranians, the somebody else. It's never that they put up a bad candidate. That will not come out of their mouth. Okay, look at Hillary. 4 years now, she lost the election, and she's still complaining about, she was cheated out of it. Up to this day. 4 years now.
Yeah, it's just, and that's the thing, Trump has been leading the popular vote count all night.
Is he still leading it? Is he still leading?
Still 2%. Still 50 to 48.
Wow.
Now, it'll change when it hits to California, but
I know it will. It must.
But it's not going to be like the last time. It won't be the big, huge swing that it was the last time.
Well, I was surprised. Like I was telling you, I was surprised to see this big Trump rally out here, and there are a couple of other rallies. So even though Biden is surely going to win, maybe it might not be as big a margin.
Maybe Biden is so uninspiring that Biden guys just stayed home.
It's possible.
And Trump people showed up.
It's possible. That's possible.
You know, it's hard to know. It's going to be interesting to find out in the next few days because I don't see it on the map. I'm looking at this map and I'm going, I can't count to 270. Even if I give him everything that's not counted or leaning blue, he's still at 240 something.
Oh, okay. Well, Trump and them were saying they were pretty confident today, so maybe they know something. They're supposed to have a very good ground game, is what the reports are. So maybe they know something on the ground that we don't.
Yeah, well, they're clearly speaking to something. Yeah. Don't know what.
We don't know what. That's right. We don't know what.
We don't know what the hell they're speaking for, but they're speaking to something. I think there's as much that for Donald Trump is against Democrats. I don't think that there are people are as much for Donald Trump as they are against kind of this whole left-wing, hardcore left-wing nut job, wokeness thing.
Yeah.
I just cannot understand how a party thinks that they can win by supporting, I guess, just looting and burning in the streets and, things that have been going on in some of these big blue cities. It seemed to me that all that the Democrats had to do to beat Trump was just kind of stay sane, just look like they're sort of the party of reason, and they just beyond them. I mean, they just, Yeah,
they thought responding to Trump you had to be more like Trump than Trump.
Yeah. All they had to do, they had Amy Klobuchar as a senator. Okay, I don't agree with her, but she's one of them reasonable Democrats. Okay.
Oh, if they'd have put Tulsi Gabbard, he'd have kicked his butt.
Probably Tulsi too. But if they had put up somebody like that, somebody who not in cognitive decline, somebody not somebody who sounds a little bit reasonable, somebody who will stand up against all this damn nonsense going on in the inner cities, they could have beat Trump. I'm firmly convinced of that. They could have beat him. Yeah. Trump has done some good things, but his personality does turn people off.
Yeah. It's just so strange. So we've got California polls should be closing here in a minute, so it means we'll be having our first results here in California, which it'll get called quickly for Biden. That's not a question. But for us here, we've got interested. We've got races like myself who've got just kind of figuring out how well we did or didn't do. We've got our local candidates that are been running tough races for a long time. They've been doing the great ground games, and we get to see how well they've done. And some of these propositions we get to see on Prop 22 is especially the one I'm personally really interested. And it's Prop 22 is a bad law. I want to be clear about something.
Right.
But the only reason it exists is because AB 5 is actually worse.
Yes.
And by the way, if you're still thinking of voting, we're not saying vote no on that because you got 2 minutes still to vote yes on Prop 22.
It's 8 o'clock now.
No, you had to be in the thing. You had to be there. So, that was pretty safe. That's why I waited, Jason. I was very careful when I talk about Prop. The bill itself, oh, my God, it's awful. There's no way in hell I would vote for that thing standing on its own. There's just no way. I wouldn't do it. But because it doesn't stand on its own, because you have to consider it with the fact of AB 5 is the real issue here.
Right.
It's just we can't. So it's like, man, it's like I was talking to somebody. It's like you get a choice. You can have both your legs cut off, or you can have one cut off, and you get to choose which one.
And just in case you're watching and you're one of the few who hasn't heard about what AB 5 is, AB 5 is just this horrific law that they passed about a little over a year ago in California that went into effect this year. And essentially it stopped people from their ability to be gig workers, which, I can't think of a worse law to have go into effect when we have the COVID, to sit there and interfere with people's ability to get back to work. It's just it's beyond me. I mean, it's just, you want to tear your hair out if you're here in California.
Oh, and it's even it's worse than that because it got interpreters. It got all kinds of people got caught up in it, and they did fixes, but they're more confusing than they were to start. It's literal madness. Hundreds of thousands of people have lost their income for no reason. And you've had the hearts ripped out of many community, these small community theaters, small community music groups and dance groups, because they're all gig workers. They all come in, they do a show or a couple shows, and then they go off somewhere else and they do a couple shows. They're not employees by any stretch of the imagination, but now in California, says anytime someone essentially does work for you, you have to issue a W-2.
Yeah. Yes.
It's just awful too. I mean, on principle, these are things that hopefully, libertarians will be able to kind of educate people about. But I mean, it comes down to your fundamental freedoms and ownership, self-ownership issues. The idea that you can't simply just say, hey, somebody wants me to work for them and I want to work for them, so let's do it. And here comes the government saying, whoa, hold on a second. We gotta get a microscope in here and look at this arrangement you're doing. And I just, oh my God, it's yeah.
And there may be an argument for kind of watching out for coercion or abuse. There may be an argument for that. But at this point, you got two people who are completely willing to engage in an operation, and the government's the one saying, no, you can't. Yeah, we're perfectly willing to do it. We figured out how to manipulate. Here's a dirty little secret: drivers manipulate the app as much as the app manipulates us.
They always trying. Oh, wait.
We got you twice here, Leon. What happened? Which one do you want?
Let me take off. I'll take off the phone.
Okay.
All right, so we try. You're stuck, Leon. Oh wait, there you go. How's that one?
Yes. No, I'm still on the phone.
Whoa. I hear that echo. You literally are trying to be the last word in liberty here. Just that word.
Leon, the last word. Leon's always the last word. As y'all have found out, who's been listening, we all now know.
Yes.
Now we know why it's the last word.
Okay, I'm back. I'm back now. So hopefully I'll stay on. I don't know what's going on with my internet. So okay.
It's the evil big tech companies is trying to keep Leon from having the last word. That's just what's happening. They're being censored. Leon.
That's very obvious. I think everybody can figure that out.
You're being censored.
Leon hasn't even started talking about the Biden scandal yet, so I don't know. They're just all over you, Leon.
All right, guys, there's been an update. We've got the West Coast has been called for Biden, so he's 209. Idaho, Wyoming, Nebraska, North Dakota has been called for Trump. He's sitting
South Dakota.
But I'm counting the leaning blue states. We've got 11 electoral votes, 6 electoral votes, 10, so that's 27, 33. I only see 36. I see 40 if you count all the leaning blue states.
And what does he have right now?
209.
209. So that put him about 249.
Yes.
Okay.
Trump currently has 112.
He's going to have to flip one of these red states, leaning red states.
Yeah. Okay. They just call Florida for Trump. They just call him. They just called Florida. Fox News just did.
And I just wonder how they're able to make these definitive calls. Hey, there's our screaming eagle over there. How you doing?
Hey.
I heard the last echo in Liberty was on there a little bit there. I tell you, that's you should do that all the time, Leon. That sounds pretty cool.
That's right. give Randy have the last word in Liberty.
Yes.
Randy, drive it home.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Tim, have you had the chance to catch up on the electoral issues, or do you need to be caught up like the rest of our viewers here?
No, I've been watching you guys. I've been lurking in the background.
Aha. So
yeah.
So you're just uneducated as you were when you started, is what you're saying.
I'll let you say that. I mean,
I just did.
I heard you're very. This is better than watching CNN. I guess. I mean, not that I've done that recently, but I used to watch these crazy analyses going on, kind of a blow by blow. And you guys are doing great. It's very entertaining and very much professional, except for maybe the StreamYard, venue. But other than that, it's great.
Okay, well, in the days of COVID, we don't have access to our studio. Not like we could do it in our studio, even if we had access to our studio. But you know, in the modern world, this kind of venue is the norm now. So
I think so.
Right,
I think
right.
so. It beats, to me, it's better than CNN. All those people that are overpaid with journalism degrees, and you know they don't know what they're doing, and they're just all saying the same nonsensical baloney.
well, and the thing is, we're just as right as they are.
That's right.
Tim, are you
Brighter.
saying reality beats fantasy? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, something like that. The reality, it is sad. I was hoping that we get, you know, I would like to have seen an increasing amount of percentage of libertarian voters, and it is kind of a sad commentary. You know, I too, on my Facebook page, had to fend off these people telling me that I was wasting my vote and so on, you know, voting for Jorgensen. But I did, and I voted for Joe Jorgensen, and proud of it. And there you have it. But you know, I guess because I'm so old and in the way, I could get away with stuff like that nowadays.
You know, Tim, to all you guys, I never understand this concept of wasting your vote, okay? Nobody's entitled to our vote. So whoever we choose to vote for is not a wasted vote. It's just that we voted for that person. Nobody's entitled to it. So how your vote could be wasted if you exercise your right to vote? This is nonsense. I can never understand that when people say you're wasting your vote. I never understand that concept.
Yeah.
Well, you know, what I can't see is, I mean, we're all kind of California kids over here, and if you look at the way the state's gone for the last 30 or 40 years, it looks like they've been wasting their votes here for 30 or 40 years.
Exactly.
Yeah, really.
Yes.
Really?
Look at the
Good
condition of this state. So you want to tell me all these years people have been voting for the Democrats solidly, and more solidly, continually. Look at the condition of the state now. So who's really wasting the vote now? That's a very good point, Jason. Very good point.
Well, as we're talking about wasting our votes, let's get everybody caught up a little bit. The national election, Trump has actually increased his national vote lead. It's now 51% to 48 in the national vote. And as we look at the map, I can't personally count Biden at more than 249. So I don't see how Biden actually gets to 270 unless he flips something that's leaning red.
Okay.
Libertarians across the board, Jordan is polling at about 2%, a little higher in some places, a little lower in these really tough battleground states. It seems like the social pressure that the major political parties on has done a real number on the soft libertarian vote this year.
Right.
Yeah, you know, one thing I remember in I think it was it 2016? Maybe it was that was the last one, right? Yeah, so it was 2012. Libertarians got 1% of the vote. So when Johnson, and that was Johnson, and then he ran again in 2016, he got 3%. And now Jorgensen, first time, 2%. I don't know, with a really hotly contested thing. That's maybe
maybe our hopes were too high.
Well, maybe our hopes were too high, but also it's not that bad of a result. It's in between the 1 and the 3. I mean, you know, does it matter? Not really, but you know, it's some encouragement, I think.
Well, and the percentage, maybe we should be looking at the vote total at the end of the day rather than the percentage. Because if we have a big, huge turnout and you might get more voters. You know, you could actually have a lower percentage and more voters if you get a massive swell of voters. And so the percentages, maybe.
Well, I think percentage still is a better number to go by. It's just because it's more like comparing apples to apples instead of apples to oranges. With the problem with the whole numbers thing is that the population itself is changing all the time. So, you know, that's going to skew numbers like that. But percentages are kind of like, well, they're percentages.
Yeah. Well, as we talked percentages, Donald Rainwater in Indiana, we had a lot of us libertarians had big hopes on a good Rainwater performance today. And he pulled at 13%, about just under 13% was the last time we saw the number. You know, that's not bad for libertarians, but you know, he'd been polling it in the 30s. And so it's whether the polls were, well, we all seen how the polls are going tonight. You know, the polls took the loss tonight. That's what took the real loss. The polling data.
Indeed.
Oh yeah, Who's going to believe them anymore? Now they lost 2 in a row. There, that's
not just lost, colossally lost.
Yeah,
leading in the polling data. Now,
Trump
California, but
Trump hasn't won the race as yet, so who knows? You know, if Biden pull this out, then maybe the polls were right.
But they're never going to be right. They had him at 10 points. This is not.
That's true.
Points.
That's true.
So even if he wins, even if he squeaks in, it's not the 10-point huge. It's not the huge voter count that they were all expecting. And so
it's like those guys that predicted the COVID death count so super high. It's like, are those guys employable anymore as like death counters?
Still employed.
Yeah. I would pull their death counter certificate is what I would do if I was in charge of them.
Oh yeah. If they have to determine whether somebody died of COVID, or not, it's kind of like, was this vote for Trump or Biden? Ronald was wearing a red shirt, so I guess it must be for Trump. But I don't know.
I don't know, but I don't want to go to the class that they all went through when they took mathematics, because somebody got some very, very poor education there.
Okay, we don't have any.
And it's mathematically getting closer to my bedtime. I have prep to do for tomorrow, and so I'm going to bid adieu, and you guys have a great time.
Well,
thanks for joining us.
Thank you for dropping by. We greatly appreciate it.
You're welcome. Yeah, this is my second drop off, Jason, because I was there earlier and then had to go eat. Had a good dinner, and now I got other stuff to do. Such as the life of someone that works every day, Leon.
I'm retired. I'm retired.
Hey, you guys can catch him, Jason.
I know.
Fridays around noon, depending upon when Jason hops into the recording.
Yeah.
On Fridays at noon, and you can also catch them Mondays on public access here in Sacramento at 5:30 p.m. You guys have a regular time slot. So
if you are paying attention to this live too, we're actually trying to sort of figure out a name for our group, and so we've talked about some names like Liberty Crew. One I was thinking of maybe is Liberty Boys. I don't know what. Maybe you guys have some other ideas, but hey, if you have an idea, you see that the email scrolling by down there. Just send in your idea, and maybe we'll think about that too.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm thinking about calling Leon a boy, Liberty or not.
Oh God, you're gonna get in trouble there.
That's right.
Yeah, I might get offended.
That's right. All right, gentlemen, I will talk to you guys on Friday, right? This Friday?
Yes.
Right now, you're being billed as Libertarian Podcast.
Yeah, you've got to get a real name here sometime.
Yeah, yes, we do.
Soon.
All right.
Soon.
Good night.
Like this. Good night, Tim. Good night, Tim. Good night.
See you, Jim.
Thank you, Tim. All right, so let's get us update. There's no reportings on California. They haven't even called my race yet, which is funny.
Oh wow.
Hey, maybe it's contested. They caught your opponent dumping ballots.
Well, it's strange because they've got the U.S. House District 5. They've got Mike Thompson's already reporting. Some counties are already reporting results, and so I don't know. Others aren't. State Assembly District 7. Hey, look at that. My name's on there. Got it right there. I should take a screenshot for my mother. Precinct 197 precincts done reporting. I have no votes. So that's but it's kind of cool that I get to watch my own kind of results here live. That's going to be fun.
Well, James, if you had to make a prediction on your race, do you have any, now that the polls are closed, do you have a sort of a guess of where you think you might wind up?
Oddly enough, I haven't got the slightest clue. My floor is low. We figured if we go, my district is about 19-point-something% Republican, and it's 50-point-something% Democrat. And so there's a lot of room in there for me getting somewhere between 15 and 40%. That's
between 15 and 100%, right?
well, now let's be honest. There's 30% that there's no way in hell I could, no matter what, they wouldn't vote for a libertarian, right? There's 30% who are going to vote Democrat no matter what. There's 15%, 20% in this area that's going to vote for a Republican or the non-Democrat option no matter what. And so that's where kind of my floor is, at about 15%. That group of people here in this area that are going to vote for non-Democrats regardless. And so that's kind of the floor. And we ran a campaign where we worried about making our ceiling as high as possible. Right. In a strange sense, we actually politicked. We talked mostly about the libertarian left, essentially from the libertarian left point perspective. We didn't talk a lot about small taxes and small government. We talked about transparency and human rights and personal rights. And from the libertarian perspective, I'm not being dishonest. I just focused on one side, not the other.
Sure.
And if anybody asked, I tell them, but it wasn't what our focus was on. And so we essentially campaigned on the left, which in this area is what people want to hear. That's the areas that they want to know where you're talking about, what your perspective.
Well, when you say, James, when you say you campaign on the left, what policy positions did you take that would put you on the left?
Well, we talked about our criminal justice reform package. We want to actually get the investigation and prosecution of potential police abuses and shootings outside of the police abuse themselves. We want to create essentially a civil rights organization to prosecute and investigate and prosecute, because they have no interest in putting people in jail or not solving the problem. You get like the ACLU or a couple of groups to get together and create a group that's designed to do that, and just to get it outside of of law enforcement completely.
Now we spoke about that very issue on our show some time ago, and I want it out of the district attorney's office. I really do, the investigation, but I'm not sure about the ACLU or any one of those people, because once you go to the ACLU, you're going to want to have Black Lives Matter going to want to be involved with that, and I certainly don't want them involved. But I was thinking about some sort of independent commission with subpoena powers. Yeah,
well, it doesn't actually necessarily have to be the ACLU. Like we were talking with Larry Sharp, he says we can go ahead and use the ACLU as a placeholder. When you sit down, you get the discussions about how you actually design it, who you include, and how you actually structure it is open.
Right.
Is open.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So whether it's actually the ACLU, whether it's a consortium of civil rights organizations and police unions, and everybody gets together and say, hey, let's get the hard work done on how do we actually design this to actually make it work. Now you have to use the judges, and you still have to use the jury system. You cannot go outside of that, but the prosecution and investigation can. And because it's so easy for a prosecutor to tank a case.
Okay, I got you.
And so you've got to get that out of the system. And we also did it when we talked about, we wanted to rebuild communities, rebuild families, and get control back into the communities. That's from the left. And we're all community involvement, get communities together. So, a lot of libertarian positions are actually from the left. These our localism, what we call localism, is, I call organic families and organic communities.
Oh.
And so rephrasing, it's the same thing, but rephrasing it in a way that people from the left can understand.
Got you.
So I didn't violate any libertarian standards. I just explained it in a way that people on the left could understand.
Well, I mean, for somebody on the right, I mean, I consider myself a conservatarian. That's a blend of conservative and libertarian. But for somebody on the right, that sounds a little more collective than I would be comfortable with, quite frankly.
Yeah, but you have to understand the nature of my district and who I'm trying to talk to.
Well, that's true too. You got to play to your audience.
That's the political decisions you have. That's when we're talking about kind of inside baseball. We'll talk about inside baseball here, inside politics. Those are the decisions you have to make, because you can't talk to everybody at the same time.
Sure.
When I can sit down and have a long conversation with someone like yourself, I can get them to understand that I'm not talking collective except outside of your neighborhood, right? The only collective you're going to have is inside your neighborhood, and it has no bounds on what goes on inside your house, right?
Got you.
So, but I can do that, but when I'm talking to the masses, and the masses in my district are 70% left leaning, I have to use their language. And otherwise, they're not going to hear me. And
so your district is that high left leaning, 70%?
Easily.
Oh shit. Oh God, sorry. I didn't mean to realize. Sorry.
It's okay. This one's not this doesn't go to public access, so we're all good.
Okay.
Well, this does bring up something, though, like you're saying, you have to speak in their language to reach them. And it really brings up a broader point for libertarians, across the country. And, it's sort of like, what does it take for libertarians to really reach people with the message? Because I firmly have come to believe that, it's this monopoly by the public schools that just gets people thinking in the wrong way about government from the beginning. It's sort of like a brainwashing where people think, well, what can government do for me? Or if I want to get something done, I need to go out and vote. And, libertarians are more about, look, a lot of these situations really are done by interactions between you and me and, the guy down the street. They're not, with the government getting involved in trying to, manipulate every situation. A lot of these situations we have to deal with through the market on our own.
So, Jason, to your point, a few years ago, the left decided to take over education, and they focused on getting teachers to become educators, or getting students to become their educators. And the process has worked very well. Suddenly we have the millennials who don't understand the history of the U.S., and they're wanting to go for free education and free handouts, free health care. And why not? It doesn't cost anything, except that it does.
Yeah.
It costs the taxpayers, the hardworking people. It does. It costs the hardworking people.
Well,
but the whole point to the point, though, Jason, is that these public schools are nothing but propaganda sites. That's what they are. Left-wing Marxist propaganda sites.
Well, you know how we counter that is by what you guys are doing right here. You start your own. We start our own ways of talking. We get better at discussion. We learn how to project our ideas in a more, I don't want to say positive. That's also true, in a more positive nature, but also in a way that the other people can understand. And what you guys doing with your podcast, what we're trying to do here at Libertarian Counterpoint, and training people and giving people an opportunity to practice. Because, I mean, in my year here at being on Libertarian Counterpoint, I am a hell of a lot better now than I was a year ago.
Okay, we have a major update on the count. Biden just won Arizona. Major update.
Well, but I had him factored in. That's not.
Did you have Arizona factored in?
Yeah, because Arizona was already leaning Biden. So I get everything leaning Biden to Biden.
Oh, okay.
And he's actually lost one of them. He's gone from Montana was leaning Biden, and now it's leaning Trump.
Okay, well, okay. Anyway, the update is that they have called it for him.
There is one update I wanted to give on a California proposition note. I went to the New York Times site, and they show that no on 16 is actually leading right now. So it's about 2 million votes, and it's about 60-something% no, which is really good. I mean,
fantastic.
We see the light of people leaving California and all the different bad policies leading to homelessness. These crazy fires we're having, all kinds of issues, and to drop the straw on the camel's back. When you see this where they want to legalize essentially state-directed racism. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, to me, that's almost getting to the straw that broke the camel's back.
Well, if it stays at this percentage,
Jim Crow repackaged.
Yeah, if it stays this percentage, that's great news because it means a lot of people saw through what was actually trying to happen.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that's actually good news because that means a lot of left-leaning people. But it really depends. If this is all North State votes,
yeah,
so it really depends where these early votes are coming from.
Well,
but if it's a random sample of where these votes are actually coming from, then it's a good news. If it holds that kind of percentage, that's actually good news because it literally enshrines stereotypes and makes white people the forever standard that everything is now being judged. How much more racist can you get than that?
I can't
tell me about that.
The government having within the Constitution, thou shalt not discriminate on the basis of race and sex. And literally, we have people who want to remove that, and they're not wearing white hoods. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, if you had told Martin Luther King that, 30 or what was it, like 50 years ago or so, I mean, holy crap. I mean, I think he would have assumed that the people would have been wearing white hoods who were trying to remove that from the state constitution. It's hard to imagine.
And there may have been an argument at a time when you needed the sledgehammer of affirmative action to help break some walls down. I can get that. But I think at some point you have to put the hammer down and start building stuff. And you can't do it when you're not going to be done when you get to that. So you just have to start using different tools. And those different tools are now based upon economics and areas where you live and not what color your damn skin is. Because I always said, what are my great-grandchildren supposed to choose? I got a grandchild who's white, black, and Filipino. So she's white, black, and Asian. What the hell is she supposed to choose when she goes to college and puts down her race? Why should she have to choose at all?
Well, yeah, that's right. We should be living in a society where we are judged by the content of our character, not the color of our skin. So she should not have to choose.
But even more to the point, too, aside from that great concept, the thing is, how do you measure this stuff? I mean, Elizabeth Warren can't figure out how to measure it. She thinks if she's literally 1% and has high cheekbones, or less than 1% with high cheekbones, that makes her part of a certain group. So it just looks like did we freeze? Oh no, okay, you guys are just staring for a long time at the results.
Yeah, I'm reading some comments, Ed, but they're not really election comments, so I'm not going to post them. But there's something I'll look into after the show. So.
No, they're at 3 million votes, and it's slipping a little bit. It's now 58% no, 41%.
Yeah, so a lot of those early votes are probably some rural counties who are, and that doesn't actually surprise me. But we'll see. Hopefully it holds up, because it's totally backwards. It's like, hey, let's go backwards. Let's go back to the 1950s.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I just don't understand. Well, I do understand, because there's a lot of people who have social justice degrees of some form or another, and they need work.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Well, this is one of the things I don't think a lot of people appreciate about government. And if you enact something, you have to have a way to actually measure it if you want to enforce it. And this is the crazy thing about race is, how do you measure it? I mean, it's just awful. I mean, the idea that you've got a lot of people who are just trying to parse somehow their DNA or their skin color. In fact, a lot of people, just out and out lying about their skin color for advantage, and I don't know. I think it's pretty sad, but the bottom line is, whenever you're doing a regulation or if you're passing a law, you need to have a clear metric of how you are going to determine whether or not somebody is, in keeping with that law if you want to enforce it. And
all right, guys, we got an update on my race, just to let you know. I am currently at 21%, 57,000 to 15,500. So
wow, 21%. Jeez.
Yeah, 21%. That's 39% reporting. So, of course, we were always going to be in my in my zone.
Okay.
So, but hey, we spent $3,500. So
that's hecka good. Seriously.
in your dollar per vote.
Imagine if you would have had that guy who was the Democrat, the guy who had been the mayor of New York. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. If he had been spending his money on you, James, you'd have this election.
Just saying.
Bloomberg.
Yeah. So let's check. We've got some other libertarians on the ballot. Oh, they don't have this. I'm gonna have to go to Secretary of State. Let me go check. You guys give us some. I'm gonna go look.
Oh gosh, another update. It's not looking good. The trend on this Prop 16. Now they got 55,300,000 counted, and it's about 53% no. So it's headed in the wrong direction.
Oh, geez.
Oh, gosh.
That's not good.
No, that it really isn't a good one. But we have to see.
How's 22 going?
Let's check 22.
And 21. 22 and 21. On the national race, Democrats just went +1. They won the Arizona seat of Martin McSally.
Let's see. looking for one of these propositions, certain hot ones and ones that aren't. Okay, here's 21. Let's see what that's doing.
On the national level right now, Democrats have 42 and Republicans have 45 seats in the Senate.
Okay.
So, and you can't really tell which way it's going to go at this point, but possibly a little bit more red than blue. In the House, you need 218. Republicans have 137. Democrats have 109. So, quite a ways to go. A lot of stuff undecided.
Sure, that's true.
Well, as far as the propositions go, so somebody asked about Proposition 21. So USA Today's tracker right now has 19% reporting, and it's about 57% no at the moment on Prop 21. So it's always a good thing to see rent control going down. I can't help but, so many people, if you just look up, it's really simple. Go to YouTube, go to any of these sites on the web, and you'll find that price controls are a terrible idea by economists. I mean, economists all are pretty universal in saying that price controls are a pretty terrible idea, and rent control is a price ceiling. That's a price control, and it leads to inefficiencies. It leads to shortages. And of course, we're in California, so lots of people grasp for those bad solutions. But rent control is just, bad idea. And like I said, look up, if you're not sure, go to Khan Academy. They have a video on price controls. You can see that. And there's a lot of other sites that will give you about a 10% lecture on, price controls and how they fail almost every time.
Okay, so I was looking up for libertarians who are running on the California. I've got Star Child down in San Francisco doesn't have any results posted yet. So that means there's no votes counting coming out of San Francisco. So a lot of these, you're going to get a flood of left-wing votes here coming at some point, is what it's going to look like here in California. State Assembly District. Let's see, State Senate districts. We've got, I'm looking for Jamie Duzlick, and of course I can't pronounce his name because I am somehow awful pronouncing names. District 9. Oh, Duzlick is getting 7.9%. So I'm outperforming the libertarians in general, even in two-person races. So we've got that. So there's that. So we got Jamie Duzlick is doing that just under 8%. We had Star Child. They're not reporting any data out of San Francisco. And for myself, I'm at 21%, which is not bad considering what we have spent. And I don't expect that, unless that is a count mostly from inner city, and we haven't seen the counts from Rio Linda, Alberta, and that kind of place yet, where I'll perform better. Then I wouldn't expect that percentage to change much.
James,
you think you're gonna hold that 21% or somewhere thereabouts?
Somewhere there's about, I would expect. It's the Republican plus Libertarian vote. It's what we got.
James, I got a little bit more good news for you on the one that's near and dear to you, Prop 22, with 19% reporting. USA Today has yes at 57% at this point. So that's a good thing. That's one of the few things as a libertarian on our show we were pushing as a yes, and most of the things certainly we were pushing no on.
Yeah, and it's not even the thing itself. It's almost a symbolic vote, because you can't let AB5 stand the way it was. You have to send a message to the knuckleheads under the dome that what they did was just fundamentally wrong. And so, yeah, it's just, it's not a fun. So we've got to go back. Let's take a look at the major map while I've got it here, while I'm sitting here on it. The balance of power. I still don't see a path to victory for Biden. I just don't see it.
I was looking at the swing states. 21 Biden 146 Trump.
Which swing state? Well, it's because I'm looking at all the swing states, and they're all currently still kind of projected red.
Yeah. Arizona, they're projecting for Biden. Florida, Georgia, Iowa, Michigan are Trump. Nevada is not called at all. New Hampshire, at 60% reporting, is 53.6 to Biden. The Associated Press is almost calling that for Biden at this point. North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Wisconsin are all leaning towards Trump.
Because I know if I'm looking at this AP map, and I give all the maps they have shaded blue and gray to Biden, he gets 249, 253 at most. If we give him Alaska. But there's no way in hell he's getting Alaska. So
Alaska, Hawaii are still voting.
so there's no way in hell they're getting Alaska. Well, Hawaii is going to go blue. Hawaii is a Democrat.
Oh yes, no doubt about that one.
Yeah, Hawaii is going to be Democrat. So I don't see a path to victory for Biden. Unless these shades are really wrong in Michigan and Pennsylvania. And he's going to need both.
Yeah.
He's going to need both. There's
right now 54-7 Trump and 43-3 to Biden. And what was the other one? Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania, Trump is leading
56 to 41-6.
Yeah.
That would be almost easy enough to call.
Well, they have a lot of mail-in stuff that they haven't yet taken care of, so they probably will hesitate to call it.
Yeah.
What's interesting?
It's like Ohio is leading by 8 points, but they haven't, and with 94% reporting. And
that means that they must be thinking there's a Democratic stronghold still outstanding, probably.
But
you know what's kind of interesting though is that with the betting polls, I saw a piece by Stossel before a couple days ago before the election here, and he was saying that it was about 66% people betting on Biden. Essentially, that was where when people put their money where their mouth is. But one of the betting things that I saw is people boarding up windows and a lot of that people are betting that maybe Trump's going to win.
That's right. That's right.
I sure know that they're not betting that Joe Jordan's going to win if they're putting up boards on their window. I know I'm not, I can't imagine anybody is going to, see Joe and say, oh my gosh, let's just go break some windows.
All right, let's see if I can go check in on a couple of these see how we're performing in some of these swing states. See Jorgensen in Pennsylvania, Jorgensen's at 2.43%. So we're still in that 2.5% range, which is, that's just, I don't know. I'm disappointed. I'm not crushed, but I'm disappointed. I would have liked to have done better. But I think I understand it with the social pressure. I can understand how it goes that way, I guess. It's just.
How's she doing in Utah?
Idaho, Utah. She's at 2.11%.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a big Trump win. So I'm wondering if we check out in a if I go,
how'd you do in Colorado?
Give me a second because I've all of a sudden forgotten how to get back there. All right. California is not Colorado. You think that Colorado, she's got 1.3. And Colorado wasn't even all that hotly contested. Biden won by a fairly sizable, 6-7 point.
The Senate race there went to the Democrats in Colorado also, and that was a flip for the Democrats.
No, Well, you know, what I was going to say is I'm wondering if, Joe Jorgensen just could have taken another approach. I mean, it seemed like breaking the media stranglehold is what needed to happen. And maybe if she took a page from like Vermin Supreme and, he walks around with a boot on his head and he gets attention, And I mean, it seems to me maybe Joe Jorgensen could have, just dressed up as the Statue of Liberty or something. I mean, my gosh, she might have been able to really crack the media echo chambers here,
Well, I guess that's the question. They did that whole bus tour, the national wide. They went in like 48 states. They kind of did a lot of traveling. You kind of wonder if they should have focused on one geographic area, hit the Midwest or someplace or someplace where libertarians are have a somewhat of a stronghold. And just kind of focus all the resources in a handful of places and see if you can, because if you can get 30-40% in one state, that people would have to actually talk about you.
Well, it's sad because this 2016 and now this year, it just feels like this was the libertarian opportunity, to really break in on some not so great, in some case horrific choices that we had here, and it really seemed like a moment that. If they just could have gotten some oxygen, that libertarians could have come in with some a little bit of rational thought to just break through all of this craziness. I mean, you think of where we've gone with the government just locking things down with COVID and the upset to people's lives that this has created. And it just seems like this is a real moment where, maybe the right candidate could have broken through.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you this, if I'm kind of clicking through between the states that went red and the states that went blue, she did better on states that went red.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's not universal. It's not. It doesn't hold true everywhere. But it's because like Florida, but all the third parties were hammered in Florida. But I'm trying to just kind of pick some of these states that went red quickly, without going to like New York or something that's just kind of absurd. But these states that have gone blue, she's under 2%, and the states that are gone red, except for Florida, she's over 2%. And I'm looking at this, and these maps, these county maps, it's clear that Democrats are just a city party, a party of a dense population. They're a urban party because that's all they win. The maps are all red, but yet they won the state because they won a handful of counties.
Yeah, all the places where what can government do for me type of places, it seems like.
Well, it seems like where you're closer to government. I was having this discussion with someone who's retired but a longtime government employee, high up government official, and there's a closeness when you're in a city, when you're in an urban spot with other people, with government services. And so it lends to a certain perspective. I can't leave the front door, right? You walk outside, you step on the sidewalk, and you're on government property. The city's streets, everything. Got a stop sign on my corner, right? There's literally a stop sign on my yard. In my yard, right? So
update, please.
Yes, sir.
Ohio just went to Trump.
And in the rural areas, government might be 100 miles away. The nearest government function might be 100 miles away.
Indeed.
And so there's literally a perspective difference because you're living completely different perspectives. And that's fine. Our system is actually set up to be flexible enough to deal with that. But for whatever reason, at the moment, the cities don't want to accept that they shouldn't be telling the people in the rural areas how to live their lives. And it's
well, the cities they can't even manage their own cities. They're ruining them, and then they want to tell other people how to live their life. Now that is a disgusting thing that we're dealing with in 2020. Probably been dealing with it for a long time, quite frankly.
Yeah, it's the whole point of the ever bigger government. Whoa, they've just shaded Nevada red.
Nevada?
They've shaded Nevada red. Yeah.
I see that. Yeah.
No shit. I don't have that here.
It's the AP map.
77.5% Trump, 20% Biden.
Well, that'll close up, but I didn't expect. I kind of thought Nevada would go Trump this year.
Trump,
Yeah.
Biden? You mean Biden?
I mean, no, I thought he would go Trump this year because Nevada has a big union population down in Las Vegas, and so it's usually closer than people think it would be.
Okay.
But I think a lot of people in Nevada don't go to the polls; they just don't vote. But this year they're going to be more motivated.
You know, as a little anecdote on Nevada, one of the places I kind of like to go just because it's sort of convenient over the last few years has been Vegas, just because of all the entertainment they have there. But Trump actually has a building in Vegas, and you can kind of see it as you're on the strip. You know, you can, this sort of big gold tower, down there. But it's funny, they didn't give him a gambling license there. So somehow he, I guess he stepped on the wrong toes at some point, because he just can't get anything going. It's just a building where, people can stay, but there's no gambling, I guess, license for him. So, I think we were asking our Uber driver about that, about the time we were there, and it's just kind of a funny little anecdote. But yeah, if you go there, I mean, he's all about product placement. And if you're, standing, you're going down the strip, you can see the words Trump right up there. That probably just bugs the heck out of people. Some people, when they go. Oh,
man, the more I look at this map, I'm not entirely sure Biden can win. I don't think he's got a path. I almost want to turn on like a CNN and see what the hell they're saying.
Well,
flip on MSNBC and see if they're flipping out. That's almost worth the Trump victory right there. Just to go watch the MSNBC people flip out.
Man, I watch ABC and NBC and all of them the last time, but oh my goodness gracious, that was unbelievable.
Yeah, I almost want to go watch because I haven't turned them on. I'm just catching the maps and looking up percentages when I want to go look at Libertarian.
But you say Nevada is red.
Well, it's AP shaded Nevada red. Now I don't know.
Okay.
It's an early tally.
Okay.
But it was too close to call. Now they shaded it red.
Okay.
But even if I I didn't see it before they shaded it red. I gave it to Biden before the shading, and I just still didn't see it. I just don't see how it's happening.
Well,
unless Pennsylvania flips, and if Pennsylvania flips, that means Michigan might flip, and so then he's got a path. But other than that, I don't see it. And Pennsylvania is
leaning Trump.
It's not leaning. It's leaning hard Trump.
Okay.
Trump's got a 520,000 vote lead
in Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania.
Holy shit!
So I pulled up CNN, and they got one of their stiffs there going through a map, and he's saying close election may come down to Arizona, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. So that's. I don't see anybody crying yet, but they're not sitting there with the panel either.
Yeah, but are they happy? Are they sitting there bouncing around with their little happy step?
It's just one guy with a map at the moment. The rest may be off stage, getting some tissues. I'm not sure.
That's crazy. Well, it's coming up to the point where let's see if I can get Kalish on here. Let's see if we can. Hey, she won. An update.
Won.
Update from the field. Past candidate. Now this is not official because I'm catching it from her campaign manager. So, just
who won?
Kalish Merrow out of Hanford City Council.
Okay, cool.
So, maybe there is a trend. Maybe we're not doing so well nationally. But maybe as Jason was spot, maybe it's the libertarian, the libertarian message. Maybe we're getting through locally and we just have to build, But I also want to point out that we need people to run for these big offices because people actually do listen. They may not vote for the governor, but they're going to talk to that libertarian and they're going to have a better viewpoint of someone down the ballot. And so, when you're talking to someone as you're running for office, a major office like Assembly or State Senate or whatever, you know, we have to remember that you're not just speaking for yourselves. You're speaking for libertarians down ballot, and you might be helping. You might be helping a libertarian who's a city councilman or who's running for a water board or a school board or something.
Right.
You never know.
Right.
You never know how those ripples work. But that's a big win for us because she put in hard work, and so we all want to congratulate Kalish Marrow down at Hanford City Council for picking up that win. Assuming it holds, assuming all this is correct.
You know, James,
hopefully she was supposed to stop by, but you know, I suppose it's probably been a big night down there for her.
Of course.
You know, one of the things I think maybe we can do as libertarians, at least with the few media opportunities we have, is if somehow we can promote, you know, more debates, I think, because the big issue is if people can see our debates clashing, or I mean, excuse me, our ideas clashing with the ideas of the other two parties, you know, and if they can see that and see how the ideas actually stack up, you know, I think we could actually gain some ground. But the problem is we can't get into the normal debates in the elections, which aren't really that good anyways. I mean, it's really just a lot of bumper sticker slogans being thrown at each other. But if we could get, you know, things like the Soho Forum that, you know, Reason Magazine's been connected with and such, you know, if we could get more of these debates happening where we can actually get, you know, a clear distinction between our ideas and theirs, I think we could really gain some ground.
Okay.
I
think some of that could work, quite frankly.
I think, you know, what libertarian candidates need to understand is videos and podcasts are the way, are the future. It's how you're going to connect to people more and more. And so doing training like you guys are doing on the podcasting or like I'm doing it at Public Access, those things are invaluable to learning how to talk to people better and how to express yourself in a more concise way. And I think we had, you know.
Update.
Yes, sir.
Trump just won Texas.
Okay, well, we had Trump factoring for Texas. Who really thought? Did anybody seriously think Texas was going to go for Biden?
Them Democrats thought they were going to win it. They were out there campaigning.
Did they really?
Yes. Kamala was there a couple times and stuff. They thought they could have flipped Texas.
I mean, there's not that many Californians have moved there yet. It's
you know, we've been thinking that people are trying to escape in their U-Hauls. This may be like an invasion of the body snatchers.
Yes. But you know, Jason, I spoke about this on the show before. I think it was Idaho or something like that. People were moving there from California, and they were complaining that people were bringing their California waste to Idaho. You know, this was a couple of years in the Wall Street Journal. so I don't know. People moving, yes, but they might be taking some of the nasty waste to these other states. I hope not.
Well, speaking of Idaho, since you brought up Idaho, we'll bring up Idaho. Idaho went for Trump. Is going for Trump 55%. What the heck? Why did you just reload? Joe Jorgensen is at 1.77% in Idaho so far.
Okay.
So, yeah, it looks like a tough night nationally for the Libertarian Party on the national scale. Rainwater getting 12.5% on any other year, it would have been a great. But we had such high hopes, I think, that we don't want to take it. We're kind of not accepting that 12.5% in a governor's race is a good thing for libertarians. It's pretty good in a three-way governor's race, and so it's a start. And it's rather than being disappointed that we didn't get the 35 or whatever and actually make it a horse race, well, maybe be happy that hey, we're starting to build something. So let's go back. I want to go back here and check mine just because. Sacramento area races, District 4. Just for those of us who happen to be in Sacramento, U.S. House District 1. La Mafa is leading by 10 points. Garimondi is leading by 30. Tom McClintock is in a tight race with Byron Kennedy. They're at 51-49%. I suspect he'll hold it out, but that's a tight race, tighter rate than it should be.
Right.
Mike Thompson has 80-20 over the Republican. Doris Matsui is is beating Chris Bish 22%. Now that's actually an interesting race. We can actually watch that because her district is part of mine, and it's very similar demographically to me. And so we're actually performing right on par with kind of the Republicans, which brings us to the, I don't know what that tells us. It tells us that, 75% of my district is left leaning. That's what it tells us.
So Doris Matsui should be pulling 78% average.
Yeah.
From historic.
Yeah, that's what she's at. She's right there. That is, if I'm going to put on my political prognostication hat, that is my opponent's next race. He has a $650,000 war chest. He's going to use it to run for Congress.
He won't run against her.
No, she's going to retire.
Okay. But when she took over from her husband, she's been at the 75 to 80 percentile straight through from then.
Yeah, my guess is she's going to retire and he's going to slip right in there.
It's funny. It seems like that's really all a Democrat has to do in California is just advertise they're blue and stay quiet.
Mind your P's and Q's, raise money, and do what you're told, and you can move up. That's what you have to do. It's not just the Democratic Party; it's the Republican Party as well. It's not. Omnibera is kicking butt over Buzz Patterson, which is not surprising. Same thing with McNary. All these Democrats are leading their races by 30 points, so it's nothing unexpected. Let's see if we've got something here on the state Senate. No.
Let me let you know. I'll let you know how the propositions are going. At least the ones we're kind of interested in here. At the moment, looks like 6.5 million votes counted, and no on Prop 16 is winning with over 53% at the moment. So hopefully that one holds. Then Prop 21, one of the local government rent controls, that is 30% of precincts reporting. That is 57% no. So, somehow in California, it's funny. I think there was a lot of Democrats that somehow came out against that one Proposition 21 as well. So that might have something to do with why that one is losing as well. And then we have Proposition 22, and that's the one that is sort of undercutting AB 5, which, constrains gig workers. Prop 22 sort of allows for exceptions for Uber and Lyft drivers, and that one it has a yes with 30% precincts reporting at 57% yes. So that's kind of where we are on some of those.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in my race, they haven't updated it because it's still 79 to 21%. And I've got 15,000 votes. So you know what? That's a
that's a moral victory, James. That's a moral victory.
We spent almost no money. We started late. We spent almost no money, and then we had our whole plan upended because of lockdowns, and so and we're performing exactly as would have been expected as you looked at kind of past results. Maybe if we'd have done it better, maybe we could have gotten that up to 25%. But realistically, I think we're about where we should have be expected. We're performing right along with the Republican in the same area. So it's the way this area is. It's sadly, they're just not yet open to having, to breaking their stranglehold on power. And I guess why would you? Yeah. But it does say something when you don't even have to campaign to win. That's, it should say something about how broken the system is.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's just all right. So I do want to go back and check. We've got a couple, the other assembly candidates here, Libertarian candidates. We'll want to check. Let me reload this page because we do have Jamie Duzlick and Starchild that we want to check on. Congress District. Okay, State Senate District 9. Jamie Duzlick is at 9.3%, so he was getting a little better than he was. He was at 8, so he's improved. We've got state assembly. There's me. They've got me at 21.4. I've gone up.
There you go. There you go. I'm telling it's a moral victory.
There's hope. We've got up. And Assembly District 17 still isn't reporting anything. And that's out of San Francisco. That's downtown San Francisco. And so Star Child, we have no information on Star Child. So,
well, just people seeing, when they look in there and they see two candidates and one of them is running with an L and they're getting a significant percentage of the vote. I mean, that's something, hopefully it's getting people to scratch their heads and maybe think a little bit harder about, what party they're affiliating with.
Well, we didn't, actually the big fear was that we got down into the 15 and then it's okay. What the hell we do wrong? Mm-hmm. Right. Because if you get under that 20, if you get, maybe 19 in an area where with a mass Democrat outpouring, if Democrats show up in mass, and it could just be simply overwhelmed. And so, there's percentages. That's why percentages are sometimes hard to know. But if we can get this at this stage, it's something to build from. If the next Libertarian who wants to run has something to build from, rather than previously it's all been Republicans. People have been shown a willingness to say, all right, we'll push the button. And we've gotten a few hundred people who are now regular viewers of my page. I can change that, create a James Just for Sacramento webpage and start doing politics on a podcast or something is kind of what our plan is. Our journey does not end just because we weren't successful in this election. Our journey actually just begins. It's just a different path now. But I'm not disappointed because I never expected to win in the first place. We called it the 3 miracle method. And so we wouldn't make sure we weren't fooling ourselves or anybody else. And we didn't get 3 miracles. But we did get, 1 or 2. We made it. So we made it to the end. And, I suppose there's a lot of people. I know Oscar Herrera, he didn't call in today, and I know why. He's polling under 3%, and he's disappointed. He's an emotional young man, and I'll have to call him tomorrow and have a chat with him. But it's understandable. He works very hard for over 2 years, and then you get to this and you pull in the single digits. And as a libertarian, for those of us old, crotchety old guys, we understand that's how it goes. We understand that's how that's the way it is. But for your young, fresh-faced kid, and that's your first experience playing in politics, it's got to be crushing.
It's the deck is so stacked against libertarians. I mean, for some of you guys, at least I've mentioned how I got into all this, and I didn't even know what a libertarian was until I was in my 30s. So I mean, it's the deck is just completely stacked against people to even know that there's an option out there, a real option that's not, that has some principles behind it. It's funny. It was, just watching Stossel, and then through him finding out about Milton Friedman and Free to Choose. And once I watched Free to Choose, it was just like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. It didn't, as I've come along, I realized there's a few things I have a little bit of skepticism about, but for the most part, that Free to Choose is just a great way to really understand why a lot of this big government stuff doesn't work, everywhere, and why it should be limited in a lot of places.
But Jason, you say that people don't know that there's another choice out there. But I will put that back squarely on the public schools, because they're not teaching anything about our founding principles in the public schools. All they're giving us is just propaganda that go along with the Marxist bullshit. Oh God, I'm sorry. The Marxist inappropriate stuff of Black Lives Matter. That's the only things that they are teaching on all the environmental crap and social justice. Those are the things they are teaching the kids in school. So by the time a kid gets to 12th grade, nowadays, they have learned so much they have so much indoctrination, they could not possibly ever think about liberty and about freedom that's associated with that liberty. They can't even be possibly thinking about these things. So that is why, I mean, we got to do something. If we want to have some impact on this thing, we got to do something with our show. I hope that could put a dent in the kind of thinking that we have going out there, because kids are being graduated year in, year out with all this Marxist crap in their head.
Well, Leon, I do want to give you a little bit of hope, Leon.
Please do.
Twice over this summer, I went and I got to talk to high school classes, different schools, high school classes, and talk to them about libertarians and libertarian values, and just have an honest, frank discussion. And one of them was an AP class, and one of them was just a general class. And I'll tell you, these kids ask better questions than the media do.
Oh, geez.
So some of these kids, there's some hope, Leon. There's some hope.
I'll take it as hope.
There's some hope, man. We actually have some people some teachers in there who are doing their part. They're trying. We have some students who are in there. And this last one I went to, it was a student-led operation. A single student. He went in there. He found a teacher to set it up. He did all the legwork with a teacher monitoring him. So there's hope, Leon. There's hope.
Okay.
We got a pretty good program.
I'll accept that.
What's that, Gail?
We have a good program over in Placer County dealing with the schools and the voter the voter registration people. When I actually send people to all the schools that participate in some education, they invite Democrats, Republicans, and Libertarians, and maybe anybody else that wants to. But Robert Page and a crew have gone to those schools, and they get a tremendous response from those kids in Placer County.
Yeah, those kids do. Kids give us a good response. They ask better questions, and they're responsive to us because, they're kids. They just want to know.
They think, and when somebody offers a thought out solution, it gets their attention. And when you're just there echoing something you've heard for 20 years and you don't know why, they see through it.
Yeah.
And so for all of you libertarians out there who might catch this, do stuff like this. Go to places or create your own places where you can learn to be better speakers, better present your ideas in a more fluidly. And then you have the opportunity. It's my work on Counterpoint that got me the opportunity to go out there and talk to these kids. My role as vice chair that gave me the opportunity for people to contact me and say, hey, come do this. And so, you have to put yourself out there if you're going to make a difference. Sure. Whether it's a podcast, whether it's running for office, whether it's working on a public access TV show, whether it's writing letters to the editor on a routine basis, whatever your skill is, get better at it or learn one and participate, because that's the only way we're going to actually change this problem. All right, guys, let's finish this in about 20 minutes. So, Leon, do you have an update on kind of the national scene? You're our national reporter, so let's kind of.
They have not called some of the battleground states, particularly those up in the upper Midwest, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. Those things have not been called. Minnesota have not been called. They're all too close to call. Biden is still leading in the Electoral College around 248 to Trump, like around 223 or so. I don't know what the AP is showing. The AP might be showing a different number. So I don't know if you can look at that and tell me what AP is showing. I think they're probably a little bit more.
No, AP is at 213, 118. AP is still behind where you're at.
AP is 213, 118?
Yeah.
No, geez. No, Fox is way ahead of that game.
Yeah, well, Fox is just calling early.
I think Fox is 227 to 204. Okay. Biden, 227 to 204. Biden leading right now, with several races still to call. And the people are raising some issues. Raising some issues about the call in Arizona, but Fox News is standing by the call. But they are raising issues about it.
They called it for Biden, didn't they?
They called it for Biden, yes, but
he's still leading by 6 points. I don't mind the call. I'd call it for Biden. I'd call it for Biden.
I think it was a fair call, but I'm just reporting.
Yeah.
Some people are questioning the call.
Oh yeah, well, they're always going to question something.
So that's the nature of the game. There are several important states not yet called, and I think both guys still have a chance to win, both of them.
Okay. And we'll kind of, on the Libertarian update, it's been a rough day for Jo Jorgensen kind of nationwide. She's pulling about 2% overall. Some states it's less, and a couple states it's a little more, but I didn't see anything when she was pulling at 3% in a state, which is a disappointment. And maybe there is one here somewhere and I just didn't catch it. But I think that, we had a lot of high hopes. There was a lot of, enthusiasm for her. But, ultimately at the end of the day, I think the peer pressure, the social pressure to, pick a lesser of two evil kind of played out. Our one hopeful candidate in kind of the national scene was Donald Rainwater in Indiana, and he was at 13% last time I looked. We can check that again here real quick. And of course, they don't show it to me. But he's about 13%. This one doesn't show it to me, but the other percentages haven't changed. So he's probably about 13%. He's in that area. He's not going to get much higher. Yeah. And it's a disappointment, I think, nationally. But I think locally, we're starting to see some successes, especially here in in California. We've got a win here in a local race. In a local, we reported a win. It's not confirmed that we've got a win reported from the campaign.
Right.
That we've got a win here down in Hanford, and so that's good because Kalish is a great representative of the Libertarian brand. I think we should all be very proud if she actually does carry this out. She's a great representative of the Libertarian brand.
Indeed.
And we'll get her on the show. I'll get the leader of the riot act for not calling in, but that's something friends can do. We'll take care.
Oh, by the way, I wanted to put this out there too. If you happen to be watching and you're a local Libertarian candidate somewhere, or you are part of a Libertarian Party apparatus somewhere, and we'd love to have you on one of our shows just as a chance to interview you. So if you we have an email there scrolling across, and just shoot us an email. And I think that this is something where we really got to get people talking in the network stronger in order so that we can really move more Libertarian candidates out there in front of people.
Yeah, and we're perfectly happy to help people learn how to do their own podcast or do their own TV show. We helped you guys. We're willing to help do that. We could also use help, just to kind of be clear. We could always use people to help Gail on the video editing and myself on directing, and there's all kinds of things that we can use help for. Yes, Leon.
Update. Trump just won Iowa. 6 electoral votes. It's 227 to 210 now.
Yeah. So it's a long night, but it's not as long a night as it seems. We have kind of feared a longer night. It doesn't seem that kind of fear is the fear of mass chaos was kind of
yeah. Well, if they start calling some of the states up in the Rust Belt and these places,
yeah,
it could end. Yeah.
It's just the mass chaos didn't happen, and I think we should all be grateful for that. Everybody was kind of waiting for this mass chaos, and that didn't turn out. And I think we're all kind of grateful for that. Jason, you got an update on the
propositions. So all the trends we've been seeing have been holding at the moment. With 7.5 million votes counted, New York Times is saying that 54% is going no on Prop 16, which is the just crazed proposition to essentially remove the language from our state constitution that keeps the state from discriminating on the basis of race and sex. That's something that, it's on the ballot here in California this year because people want to be able to discriminate on those factors. And fortunately, the voters at this point are saying no. Hopefully that holds over the night. Then we have Prop 21 is one of the more interesting ones we've been following. That's about local government rent control. 57% are going no, with about 30% of the precincts reporting. And Prop 22, which is the one that undoes AB 5 here in California, that essentially constrains gig workers from just being able to have the freedom to engage in contracts with people to go to work for them. That one has 57% yes. So that, again, to clarify, 22 essentially tries to make exceptions to that terrible AB5 that got passed last year and went into effect this year in California. By the way, if you're watching and you're not in California, the National Democrats have made no secret that they want to push this national too. This what in California is called AB5, which restricts gig workers. So, hopefully, if you're watching, you'll be part of the effort to hold the line against that, because, people's freedom to be able to just go to work where, for somebody, if they want to, that has to be maintained. I mean, that's just such a fundamental liberty. And the idea that, we have people in government who literally want to stand in the way of consensual contracts between people is just, beyond the pale, especially in this age of COVID, when we've killed so many jobs. The idea that we're going to stand in people's way to just get together for gig work is just absolute insanity.
And I'll give you guys a quick update on some of the California Libertarian races. Jamie Duzlick, State Senate, District 9, he's still pulling at about 9%, 9.1. We do now have some data in from San Francisco. Starchild has polling at 9.3%. And I went up a point. I'm now at 21.4 instead of 21.3. We're still trending the right way. That's all.
Very good, James. I have an update. I don't know if you know who Joni Ernst is. She's senator from Iowa. Mm-hmm. She was a vulnerable Republican. The Democrats thought they were going to flip Iowa and eventually take control of the Senate. Well, their hopes have just been dashed. Joni Ernst just won back her seat in Iowa.
So I know they flipped McCain's seat. But
yes,
they're not going to get.
Two.
So they flipped two. So it's going to be like 51-49, something like that.
Yeah, they flip McCain's seat. Martha McSally lost, and they also flipped Colorado. Cory Gardner lost, but the Republicans flipped Alabama, which is Doug Jones. He lost, so that's a gain for the Republicans. So right now, I think the Democrats are +1, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, I do want to give you an update on a Libertarian who's running for city council in Outwater. I do have some results. I did look them up. It doesn't say 100% reporting. He did well. He's 42% to 55%. Hey, wait! Actually, speak of the devil. He just popped in. Let me find my mouse. Hello, how you doing, Mr.? Can you pronounce your name? Because I will butcher it if I try to pronounce your last name, and I don't want to do that. I apologize. I'm a terrible TV host with names.
It's Noguera.
Noguera?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, all right. How you doing? It's been a tough night. I just checked on your race. I just kind of looked up for you. You did better than me. I'm polling at 21.4. So, I 21.4%. So, so how does that, what's it feel like? It's been a tough race, I suppose. It's been a long time. It's
pretty exciting. It's my first time running. I don't know how many other libertarians have been, how many times they've ran, but yeah, I went out there, I put in the work, and just hoping that they said that there's still there's probably thousands they're still accounted for. So tomorrow there's going to be more calculations happening, but
yeah, because it's 240 votes. It's 1,044 to 802 that the paper's reporting. That's the count. I'm looking at the newspaper. So
yeah, and
it says 100% reporting, but mail-in ballots and all that kind of thing. So it's only a couple hundred votes. So it depends on. I guess it's not as bad as it looks to those of us sitting from the outside. You know a little bit more. That's great.
There's people calling me and telling me that there are some pretty big lines out at the polling areas. So I'm still kind of hopeful about what's going to be happening tomorrow.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's good. We'll wait to see. I appreciate it. So I know I'm not technically a first time. I tried and failed to get on the ballot for state assembly a couple years ago, but this was kind of our first successful run. And, we didn't have any we didn't think we were going to win. We kind of knew we're sitting in a district that's 50% Democrat, you know, and really 70% leans Democrat. And so we were always going to have a rough time of it. So, but what's it like in your area? How much, because we didn't get much negative pushback. What was that like on yours? Because it's one of the things I found interesting in this area is that I didn't get much negative pushback. People
I don't think I got any negative pushback. There's probably maybe one or two people, because in Atwater made itself a sanctuary city. So that's one of the big topics in the area, because they wanted to basically defy the governor's orders and open up businesses. And so I probably had like one or two people that wanted me to go more hard against the governor and siding with the city council more in their resolution to make it a sanctuary city. But the majority of people were agreeing with me. A lot of things had to do with taxes. So a lot of people were basically fed up with taxes. And the city council was trying to put 1 cent tax on the ballot. And so a lot of people were upset about that. So I was doing pushing a lot of that against raising taxes.
Jason Leon?
Mike, is this your first time running?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your take on that as somebody trying to run as a libertarian? Give us the overview.
So running. So it was the election laws and filling out the paperwork is pretty confusing, and it was kind of worrisome while I was trying to figure all that out, and then also the reporting and stuff like that. I was looking to not raise a lot of money because I just wanted to get enough for to put up signs, because my town's it's not that big. It's like around 29,000 people. And then my district is, I think, a little bit over 3,000 people. And just like going through all the paperwork and all that and figuring out reporting and stuff like that was confusing even for me. And I'm an attorney. And I was like, what is all this? Yeah.
Oh, for me, the worst part of running for office is the campaign finance laws. Mm-hmm. Clearly, the worst part of running for office is the campaign finance laws. If I didn't have a treasurer, I'd be bald because I'd have pulled all my damn hair out. And I've got lots of hair. You know, I got nice long hair. I'd be bald because it's a campaign finance. They're mind-boggling, and they don't even do anything. That's, if they worked, maybe I could put up with it, but they don't work. It makes it so frustrating.
Yeah.
So Mike, did you find yourself spending a lot of time explaining to people who or what a libertarian is?
Not really. There would be only some people that were like, well, what are you politically? Or they would straight up say, are you Republican or Democrat? And I'd be like, I'm neither. And then they'd be like, well, I don't know if I like that. And then when they ask me, well, what are you? And then I'm like, well, I'm libertarian. Oh, okay, that's fine. You're fiscally responsible. So that's fine with us.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the benefits of these local races is they're actually not party races. You know, you don't run as your party, you're just running as an individual. The libertarian is kind of secondary. You know, now of course here in Sacramento, they're non-party races, but the whole district, you know, the whole city council is Democrat, and we all know it. And so it's it's one of those things. It's a non-partisan race, but it's not really. But I suppose in a small town like Atwater, it's different. It's probably more of the kind of personal feel. An independent candidate probably has just as good a chance as a party candidate.
Yeah. The town's like it's a really homey town. It's really small, not a lot of main streets in it, and everyone's just really close knit. It's a close knit community.
So, Mike, is this the start of your political career, or is this have you kind of made that decision? Have you been thinking about, okay, what's next if you win? What next if you lose? It's like me. My community asked me to run, and so if I have a political future, it's because my community asked. What's your kind of future?
Yeah, what I was thinking of doing is if I wasn't gonna get elected, I was planning on trying to get on some type of committee or some type of budgeting committee, just so I can make sure that there's oversight over that. My town recently was celebrating because they're going to be coming out of debt, and we were on one of the lists of on the issues of economics in our budgeting. So that's a big thing that's happening, and I think it would be important to still at least be on a commission and make sure that there's oversight and accountability regarding the city's financing.
Hey, Mike, Dale Morgan here.
Yeah.
I sit on, and have for like 14 years, sit on the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Commission. And getting appointed to a board or a commission can be a real avenue for many people that want to get into and win a political race. So a lot of people have used my particular commission as the platform to become a county supervisor or a city councilman.
Yeah.
And so that if you take that path, if you're interested in the future, definitely get on one or two commissions.
Mm-hmm.
And that way your voice is known, people know who you are, and then also it gives you a broader background on issues, because you're forced every couple of weeks to study stuff.
Yeah. Oh. So as we're getting actually ready here to leave here in a few minutes, it's 9:30. Everything's kind of calming down. But so I've never run for a local office, so I suppose it's different than running for an assembly, right? Because it's much more personal. I have to try to represent 300,000 people or something like 100. I forget what the number. It's an outstanding. It's a large number of people. You can't shake everybody's hand, but theoretically, if you've got less than 4,000 people in your district over the course of 3 months, you can get to a huge percentage of them. Mm-hmm. If you've got a team. Did you have a team, or were you kind of on your own this time?
I had only like a couple friends and colleagues that I know that would come out and help me go door to door. When I first started, I started in like the corner of my district and was just going out, even during the time when the wildfires were out and I'm barely breathing and it's hot. And I was just going out knocking on doors and trying to talk to as many residents as I could.
Did you get connected to any libertarian groups to help you like learn how to do this, learn how to come on here and talk to do interviews better? You learn how to host and that kind of thing? Did you kind of help people?
I had like signed up, I think it was through the national party, some things, and I think maybe there was state party information. And then I was also looking at information from caucuses from the Libertarian Party. And then also I was talking with Brent a lot too, who was helping with Kalish out of Hanford. And then also talking with John Prosser, who's the Central Area Coordinator. So I was getting, yeah.
Yeah, do you guys not have a county party affiliate?
Yeah, I was elected.
You are the county party affiliate. I should have known. I should have known all this thing. Man, he probably is the county party affiliate. I know the feeling. Yeah.
Could I make a quick break in, please?
Yes, sir.
Update: Joe Biden just won Minnesota, 10 electoral votes. He's now at 237. Trump is still at 210.
So, hey, while we've got you, do you have any kind of feelings on the national scale? We've been looking at this map, and we're still going, while Biden's winning, we don't see a map for him to actually victory. Have you kind of had a chance to look at it, or have you been busy with your own stuff?
Yeah, I was looking at it a little bit. I think that on the national level, it's been pretty interesting. And then also I was watching Rainwater and was it Harrington? Mm-hmm. And then also the just like some local stuff. Yeah. But I think that the presidential one's been pretty interesting watching that.
Yeah, it's been kind of a disappointing day for libertarians, right? We're kind of hoping for a little bit better outcome, especially Rainwater. We were really hoping Rainwater would get up into at least the 20s, and it doesn't really appear that way. It was looking like about 13% when last time I had looked. So, Did you remember what Harrington did? If you had what his percentages were?
No, I didn't. I don't remember what it was.
Nah, I don't either. I looked at it. I just don't remember what it was. So it's been a tough night nationally, but I think Kalish did well, and I think it's a good performance. You went out there, you did well, you put yourself out there, and that's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to decide to do. I'm grateful every time someone does it. I really do, because it's not, having done it myself now, I'm even more grateful when people like yourselves decide to pick up the task and say, I'm going to go out and do this. And you've got to figure out a strategy to do it. Like, I can only raise so much money. Otherwise the reporting becomes burdensome and I can't do it by myself. I was
for your efforts on the part of Liberty to go out there and carry the banner for everybody here. So
we thank you. We thank you for going out there and carrying the banner, and we hope that overnight these kind of trickle-in ballots. We hope every trickle-in ballot goes for you. We hope that tomorrow you can call me up and say, "Hey, sucker, look at me, I won," and get me back on your show. And
I just talking about that, the running for office. When I started running, I was thinking there should be, which I know that there are a lot of libertarians, but I think that it's important that there's way a lot of libertarians running, because I don't know how many times I spoke to people that were like, we want to see more libertarians running. So I was like, why not put myself out there too? And then if people talk to me about libertarianism, then I'm going to talk about it and just keep spreading the message to as many people as I can.
Yeah, but you don't even have to. That's the thing. You don't actually have to talk about libertarianism. You can just go out and talk about how you want to solve problems. And because because it's from the libertarian perspective, they're going to learn about libertarian philosophy.
Yeah. And
that's what you want to sell them on first. You don't want to sell them on the party first. You want to sell them on the philosophy first and get them into the party later. And that's kind of my thing. No, let's get them willing to listen to me first, and then let's get them to understand the philosophy, and then we'll get them into the party. And so it's a process, and you've helped us start that process, and we're thankful. We think you've done a good job, and I want you to come back. We'll get you on and have a kind of a real conversation with you about your race, being one personal interview. I think that'd be good. We get you back here.
I was kind of hoping too, once the dust settles, we're trying to see if we can get more and more people who are connected with libertarian machinery out there to come in and tell people about their experience, because in the end, other people who are just thinking about it, if they hear your story and how you got going, that may be the spark that gets somebody else going. So
yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. Yeah.
Well, not just a spark, it's also that they have someone, hey, I can actually reach out, because, most libertarians are very reachable. We're all open. So, hey, I can actually talk to this guy and ask him, okay, what's it take? Maybe someone else in your area, what's it take? How can you help me? Even if it's not you can help me, can you walk strategy? Can you help me through working through my strategy? Because even that is a big help, because I know I'm lucky I had a team. I had kind of a full team. Now, it ended up you didn't have a lot to do because of the lockdowns. And so it was a lot of just kind of bouncing ideas back and forth. But it was a huge help. If I didn't have them, I don't know what I could have done.
Yeah, and I think that's also important too, about why I wanted to run too, was not only because I wanted to spread the ideas of liberty and then represent my small community, but the other thing was that when I started running, I made sure that I was paying attention to all the forums that I was doing and calling the FPPC and trying to get out as much information as I can, so that when other libertarians or other people are running, or people running to spread the message, they can come to me and ask me what do I have to fill out, or do you have an issue with this? And there's another person within my county, Merced County, that's thinking about running when there's a spot up in his town. So now I can help him when he wants to decide to run, or any other libertarians that want help.
Yeah, training. Libertarians need training, and we can't train until we learn, and we can't learn until we do. And so it takes the brave. It takes the first one through the door. It takes all the arrows, but it helps the ones who follow us. And I think I again, guys like you, I appreciate it. You guys are on the front lines. And from what we hear, Kalish did well tonight. Do you have any actual data? Because I read Brent said she won, but.
Yeah, I was trying to find it, but I couldn't find it like how my county has their election night reporting. But I just saw on the Facebook on the Libertarian Party's page that she won, so that's pretty exciting.
She works really she works really hard. She really earned that. Leon, you're bouncing over there. What you got for us?
No, I wasn't bouncing, to be honest. I was just my feet was cramping up, so I was just. I'm sorry.
No. I think that's actually a signal. We've been here what 3 hours, 3.5 hours. I think
3 hours, yes.
3.5. It's been a long night. I think we're gonna call it. Mike, thank you for stopping by. I'm gonna get in
Yes,
contact
Mike.
with
It was
you.
nice meeting you.
I'm gonna get in contact with you, Mike.
Before we go, Mike, we have 2 shows here. One on Thursday and one on Monday night. Come be on both of them.
Yeah, we're gonna get Mike on. I'll get with you, Mike, and we'll get you on. We'll get you on the regular Counterpoint show. And I know these podcast guys would want to have a chance to talk with you. So
indeed.
So they record on Fridays. We record either Sundays or Mondays. So we'll try and work that out for you.
Sweet. Sounds good.
All right. Thank you, Mike. And
thank you, Mike. Nice meeting you.
You too.
And Mike, and really, we love you for all the work you guys did down there. We appreciate it. What you've done for Liberty, the ripples you have created, whether it happens when they finish counting the votes or not, you've created ripples that we don't know how they go through time. So thank you for all the effort. We appreciate it.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
And for all of you who have watched us for coming in and out of us for 3.5 hours, and for Leon, Jason, Gail, and Tim who showed up, thank you guys for coming through. And I'm gonna go yell at. I won't yell at Oscar, but I'll yell at Kalish for not coming by. Oscar had enough tough night. He's a young kid. I'll go let him. I'll go give him a hand. But for you guys, thank you guys for doing this. We've learned a lot. I think if we do this next time and kind of next we'll be better.
Well, thank you for
thank you.
And we've got to just to let you guys know, Biden's apparently about to talk, so we're gonna see. So maybe Biden's conceding. Time to go watch some TV. All right, guys.
Indeed.
Thank you,
guys.
guys.
Bye. Take care.
The propositions are still trending the way we want them to with respect to 22, 21, and 16. So, hey, that might be.
What about 15? That stupid tax thing. It was like 50% last time I looked.
Let me check 15. Let's see if I can find it here. There's 15. Let me see here. So 15 is with 43% reporting. It has a no at just barely 50.4%. So, and that would be change in commercial property tax. It kind of undoes some of Prop 13.
Now, is that a 50% or is that a Constitution change, or is that just a 50% plus one? I don't know. I'll have to go look.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but it's funny. We had about, I think, what was it, 10 or 11 propositions on the ballot this time. So there were actually more than that. Where I think there were quite a few of them here in California. So unfortunately, we haven't given enough attention to all of them, and some of them were sort of undermining those Prop 13 protections that were put in. And it's funny, Prop 13, not really the best way to manage things, but when you have a state where every time they want to do something, they just keep jacking up the taxes, you got to have some kind of protection in there to keep things stable for people.
Yeah, well, if they hadn't been throwing old women out on the street for tax money purposes, they wouldn't have happened. So, they were literally pushing old people into the streets over taxes. And, well, when you do that, guess what's going to happen? They're going to bring the banhammer down on you.
Indeed.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for showing up. And for all of you, thank you and good night.
Thanks. And good night. Bye, guys. See you guys.